Awesome. We are live on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for joining. Again, my name is Sheol Akalasotu, and I am your host for today, the host and owner of this channel, Sheol On Demand. I'm going to mute myself on YouTube because I'm echoing on that side. All right. And if you have your YouTube open as well, ladies, just mute it so that otherwise it carries over. And there's a slight delay as well. All right, so we want to say thank you to everybody for joining again. Thank you also to everyone for joining last week. Last week was uber successful. It was super crazy. The one thing that I'm a little bummed about is that with YouTube live videos, when you repost the videos sort of to the live videos to your channel, all of the comments disappear. So if you were on there last week, you would have seen all the fairy comments going left, right, and center. Even my mom yesterday was like, oh my God, what happened to all the comments? All the comments, we needed to see all the comments. I'm like, well, you can tell YouTube, they should please do, So last week it seemed as if we only had 3 comments, but I promise you that the comments were hundreds. The engagement was crazy. So Thank you guys for joining. I see a few people joining in as well. Please go ahead and share across your social media pages. Make sure everybody is joining. We're gonna wait until I think we have a couple more people that are in right now. We'll give them 1 more minute, 2 more minutes, and then we'll get started. I'm going to shoot a reminder right now on Facebook as well for those who may have forgotten. Okay. Let's do this. Engagement was crazy. I can hear somebody playing back.
David.
Or, okay, we have more people. The number is doubling. We're good. Okay, we're getting there. Thank you guys for joining. We're just waiting for you guys to join us. So I think we'll just get started and people will catch up. You know what I mean? All right. So guys, everyone in the world knows what has been going on in the United States of America, God's own country, for the last couple of weeks. I mean, I want to say the last couple of weeks is just a reflection of everything that we've been going through for generations at this point, right? But I think the issue with George Floyd just kind of brought this to light for a lot of people, opened a lot of people's eyes. I've been seeing people on social media making comments like, I didn't really get, it never really dawned on them what their African-American friends have been dealing with in terms of racism, but just point blank seeing how a human being could kneel on the neck of another person and the person pleading literally for their life and telling you, I can't breathe, my everything hurts, my chest hurts, my back hurts, everything hurts. And they still keep the knee on their neck, I'm not a lawyer, but intentionally trying to snuff life out of somebody. That brings a whole new wave and level to what we've been experiencing. It seems like a lot of things are maybe subtle, things that you could push on that. It was an accident. It was not intentional. It was, just happened in the moment, or maybe, I thought he had a weapon, so I quickly drew mine, because if I didn't draw mine, he could have drawn his first. But none of that is the case here. So it's kind of like really, really blatant, right? And I feel like a lot of people are angry, rightly so. People are concerned, angry, but I feel like more as mothers, I see us being a little, even more than angry, I see us as being very concerned, right? So ladies and gentlemen, before I move on, I want to really, I want to introduce our panel here. Last week we spoke with the men, the fathers, and today we wanted to speak with the mothers. So I have it made starting from, so I think on YouTube, the view is actually different. I have from my right-hand side, Mrs. Laomi Balogun, who's the CEO, owner and founder of Port Afrique. She's a mom of 3 beautiful children, 2 boys and 1 girl. I also have to her own right, Mrs. Amaka Okafor, who is also a mom of three. She has twin children. Whew, calling for twins in Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. Okay, so she's also, she's in the IT industry. She's also the CEO of Uber Style Women. And right below me, I have Mrs. Tolu Oloko, who's also a mom of two boys. She's also into the IT industry, cybersecurity. And to her right, I have Mrs. Olumoko, who's also a fab mom of two. She has a boy, handsome young man, and a beautiful little girl. And then I also have Buki. Now Buki is, everybody who's listening, I'm going to say this again. Yeah, Buki, roll your eyes. Buki was the person who called last week, the very first caller, who was emotional. You could hear and you could feel the emotion, how she felt. It irradiated, and I loved that. So Buki is our person. She's in the accounting field, and she's also a fabulous, great mom of three. She has two boys and one girl that she calls a tomboy. But that's a story for another day, Buki. So yay, thank you so much for having, and for you guys for joining us today. I appreciate you guys taking the time to speak with me. 1 second. I have inquisitive people trying to see what's going on in this in this place here. Mom life. All right, so we're getting started. So we're gonna start off with just how you guys feeling, knowing everything that has been happening. You know what I mean? How do you feel as a mom? What are your immediate concerns? The moment you heard what was happening, you've been seeing what was going on. Like, what are the things that come to your mind as Black woman, and also a mother who's parenting a male child, right? I know somebody had sent me a message, also a professor had sent me a message yesterday saying, well, we need to talk about the girls too, because the girls are also affected, which I'm like, I totally agree. You know what I mean? But I want to believe that that we've had more men being affected than girls, but we'll have a conversation about the girls, subsequently. So for the mothers, I'm going to start with Mrs. Balogun, who's just directly right next to me on the screen. Salami, how do you feel when you saw this? You're a mom of two boys, and your younger boy is getting older, and he's at that teenage age there. He's approaching that level of independence where he's going to be driving out by himself, hanging out on the mall by himself, more likely to have a conversation with a police officer on his own without you even being there. What were your thoughts? What are your concerns?
Well, thank you so much for putting me on this platform. I'm so privileged to be able to express and communicate with tons of people watching right now. I was devastated. I was scared, but not scared, because maybe for other people, because for my children, I have brought them up in a way that I know that there's a sort of peace and tranquil in my heart, which is the way of the Lord.
Yes.
Religion is a very, very vital aspect of life. And that was my foundation. I was brought up and bred in a Christian home. My mother and father, God-fearing people. And I have taken this device into my home, into my marriage, to bring up my children. And I have brought them up in such a way that they know that when mommy and daddy is not there, God is the one they call on to. The Holy Spirit is there to help them. So, but I also had the discussion with them, because I knew sometime or some point they will ask these questions. And so many people try to shy away from questions like this because they don't know what to say, they don't know how to handle it, because maybe they don't have much knowledge about the situation. But the fact still remains that we have to have these discussions with our children. Despite the fact that it's a bit difficult, we have to have these discussions with them. And I sat down with my son and my daughter. God has blessed me with two sons and a daughter. One is about to be 16 years old, and the other 11. I sat down with them and I asked them what they think about what's going on. What do you think about what you've heard on the television? Are you scared? Well, I just left it to them to talk. I needed them to talk to me. I needed them to ask me questions, because so many times we just assume that these children, they understand, and they typically do not understand what is going on. They just assume. We're just assuming. But so many times they are in this fear of not wanting to say. And it also goes back to the way you have brought up your child.
Yes.
Your child needs to have a one-on-one relationship with you, right, where this child does not hide anything from you and is able to express the feeling. So I tried to like make sure they asked questions about what was going on. To my greatest surprise, they even knew more than what I knew. They had somehow seen on the news through social media and asking me why is it that it's happening like this? And I let them know that as a Black child in this country, you have to know that you're a good person. So many times, with all what is going on, children assume that Black people are bad, and they are not bad. Yeah. You have to know, you have to let them know that violence is true. Racism is real. Not hiding these facts from them. In their schools, they do tell them about some things that have happened in the past, some history about what happened, but they don't go into details. So I have to go into details. As parents, you have to go into details and tell them about the history. Tell them about the genesis of slave trade, of how the Blacks were brought into this country, of how much they were brutalized, and of how much they've been fighting for freedom for a very long time. So I'll still go back to the fact that we have to bring up our children in a way that we as parents, at the end of the day, we are at peace. The one standard we use in my home is the Bible. We have used the Bible as a yardstick. We've used it, we've tested it time after time after time again. Okay. And it has worked.
It has worked. Okay. Great, yes. great perspective, and I like that your family is holding on to that biblical, perspective and using that as a tool, because there's only so much you can do in this world, right? So before we actually, there's only so much that we can do, and I feel like even in some situations where parents have done everything, you've raised your children, like for example, like with the George Floyd issue. Okay, so yes, maybe he had a counterfeit dollar bill. You know what I mean? I feel like still zero justification, in the police officer being the enforcer of the law, the judge, the jury, the executioner, all in 8 minutes. You get what I mean? Like, I feel like we've gotten to a point where no matter how well you even raise your children, can we even guarantee that when we do everything we can as parents, that we will not meet a Dennis Chauvin or Derek Chauvin out there, where we're not being aggressive. We're not fighting back. We're not fighting back. We're not armed. You know what I mean? Yet somebody still thinks, I'm gonna snuff your life because for the heck of it. You know what I mean? So I like that perspective, but I also want us to and I'm looking to what everybody else has to say as well. So let's go to Amaka. Amaka, what do you think? How are you feeling right now? You are on mute.
All right, you can hear me right now, right?
Yes, you can hear you now.
I feel I'm worried. I worry, because even though my kids are still very young, my twins are 5 and my baby is 4. So my kids are still very young. But then I have 2 younger brothers that I helped almost raise also. So they're grown men now, they're married, but I still see them as 2 younger brothers that I worry about. They're out there. So I worry a lot, because I know that as great as parents have tried to train you, you could be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
And so you could be the best kid on the block. I mean, Trevor Martin was just walking down the street. You could be a good kid, and you're just walking down, and then your color is your color, and then you fall prey. And because the police officer knows that nothing is going to happen, there are no consequences. Probably either are more consequences as what has happened or what's happening now.
Yeah.
Maybe that officer would not have done what he did. Because this and I hope that after what's going on now worldwide, I hope that officers will start to take some responsibility and have some kind of fear before they do things. Because um, I worry that you could be walking on the street and you didn't do anything. And because even I heard the $20 was not even counterfeit. I mean, as of 2 days ago.
Yesterday, that wasn't even at the end of the day wasn't even counterfeit.
And I heard it wasn't, but he's gone. He's gone. He's gone. And I heard that he had coronavirus, by the way. So now we're going to move. We're going to change it from being murdered to probably was coronavirus. That was why he couldn't breathe.
Change the narrative.
Yes. So my whole fear is that you could be in the wrong place at the wrong time. As much as we talk to our kids and tell them the right things to do and pray with them and do everything, because I worry because my boys are still growing. They're too young for me to talk to them about racism. They don't even know what that is. And I don't want to steal their innocence away, because I feel like no one is born racist. Someone tells you about it. Someone tells you that person is Black, that person is white. And then you go around kindergarten or class saying, oh, you're brown and I'm not. So that discussion hasn't come up yet. But inside, I worry so much for them, because I feel like it could be anybody. It could happen to anyone, so I find I have some kind of joy that the protest is going on. I have some kind of joy that people are speaking up, that people are actually showing that it's not okay. It's not okay to kneel on our necks and take our lives. It's not okay to not only kneel on our necks financially, you're actually going to physically kneel on our necks also physically. It's not okay. So I think I find some kind of comfort in what we're seeing, not only in the US, but around the world.
So, which brings me to a question that and a coworker and I had a conversation virtually yesterday about this. So, what do you guys think? How old is too young to have this discussion? When do you think that? And I love the fact that I have. So, Tammy, I know Tammy, your son is also quite young. Tommy's what, 4? Is it about?
He's 4.5. 4.5. He's
now.
Gonna be 5 in September.
Going to be 5 in September. And Amaka, your twins are about the same age.
Yeah, my twins are 5 already. They're going
already. So when do you think you would feel more comfortable having this conversation with them? Now, before you respond, so my coworker said that she sent me a message, and I thought I was going to read this out there. She said it's never ever too early to start having a conversation with children, even babies. Showing babies pictures of babies from all parts of the world to show them that humans come in all colors and it's okay to be different. This is what makes the world. This is what I do with my 2-year-old, having to tailor the message to a baby versus you have to tailor the message to a baby versus a 5-year-old versus a 10-year-old. This is what we need to do, but the message remains the same. What do you think? Do you guys agree? Tammy, what do you think? Do you feel like?
I agree. I think for Black, brown people, we've grown up in a society where the majority rules in almost everything, fashion, and the fashion industry, it's all about appearances and your perception of beauty. So for that, I think Black, brown people and non-Black people should expose themselves intentionally and their children to Black, brown cartoons, to fashion, to even the other day I was looking into calligraphy, and I saw a video on Instagram where a Black calligrapher was like, I studied under the impression that calligraphy was by default white. So we have to change that, I don't know what to call it or justify it as, but the default of life where everything is.
That even all the way to that, it is
like Barbie,
you know what I mean?
For example, Barbie. So we have to be intentional to, with introducing our children to things that are non-white. They're not the default So having said that, my son, to be quite honest, I don't really tell him about racism. I actually, it is quite sad. I actually am hard on him just in case, inevitably, but just in case he gets stopped by a cop or someone in the authority who thinks what's the word? He's not a little boy, or he's a threat. Thank you. Obedience to authority is something that I try to enforce in our home. I try to drive in because the consequence, and it's so sad because it's not only about obedience to authority. Trayvon Martin, like you said, was walking down the street. It wasn't a cop that, approached him. So he's like, okay, so who are you? Why are you trying to tell me what to do?
Yeah.
So to be quite honest, I'm reading up on it. I need to educate myself and not live in fear. Like Amaka said, I am worried. I'm not so worried that in school they're gonna bully him, but I'm worried that when he does meet authority, or a cop figure, or he's going to be put in a position where he starts to doubt himself. So I try to instill into him confidence. The scripture, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things. I try to tell him all the time.
Nice.
So that he knows who he is. So when he is confronted with that, he can stand firm and say, no, I know I'm Black, but I can do this, So you're right. I really need to educate myself on how to not only prepare him for when that time comes, because it will come,
Yeah.
but how to kind of confront it in a in a manner that is not in conflict. So he can recognize, oh, that's racism right there, and have a discussion with whoever it is, maybe a colleague or someone at a store, and say, you know what, you're being racist right now, but it's okay. So let me educate you. I don't know. I really need to educate myself on that. I feel it's needed. It's necessary.
I like the fact that you had mentioned that, he could say, let me educate you, which brings me to Buki. Buki, hi. And the reason I'm saying this, that this just brought me, I had another question, but this brought something else to Buki, because I saw on Instagram that, and I don't know if you're friends with the lady, she's a Caucasian lady.
Oh, yeah.
Tag Buki and say that I just got educated. I'm just, this is like, but let me summarize that. I guess she didn't know a lot about, what we're angry about or what we're fighting about, you know what I mean? So I don't know how she connected with Buki, but Buki chose to school her.
I did.
But guess what? She wasn't angry at all. She finished, was like, I had a conversation with Bukola. She actually called her Bukola. I was rolling. So I had a conversation with Bukola, and Bukola told me this, she shared it. So Buki, please enlighten us. What was that and what did you tell her?
So, good afternoon. Let me just start. I'm going to be very real. Let me just start by saying the reason why we're here today is because of those mothers. We African mothers are here because of those African American mothers, grandmas that sacrificed and stood out so that we can be here. If they didn't make that move, we will not be here to be able to go to have our kids in schools or be in the US. So thank you to those mothers. Some have lost their sons to senseless things back then. There's no police record of that. So we're living in the grace of the sacrifice that they went through. The things they've had to do. We're here now, we say we're Africans, we're here. So thank you to those African Americans who were never really given the credit for the sacrifice that their generation, their ancestors paid for us to be here and be able to do this.
That's true. That is true.
So first conversation is, let me just start by saying the Bukola. I don't let my non-African friends call me Buki. You're going to call me Bukola. It's all about identity.
Nice.
And it goes with the children as well. So she put a post on. I follow her, randomly sometimes, and I do love the things she puts on. And she had this heartfelt message of, oh my goodness, I need to be intentional about the fact that I don't know what's going on. And Lindsay, if you're here, hi. And she said, most of my audience are predominantly white blondes. And if you go to her page, they're the ones that follow her. So she had that heartfelt message. She put something, and I said, well, if you want to have a conversation, judgment-free, I'm here. She called me. I thought it was a scam, so I didn't respond. Then we started talking. We introduced each other, and I said, you know what, it's going to be very honest, and I'm glad you're doing this. We started talking, talked about kids, and I said, you're going to be uncomfortable, and you should be uncomfortable. I said, you're going to lose followers, and you should expect that. And I'm just going to let you know straight up that there's a difference between being white and Black. We have to celebrate our differences. And we're so vulnerable, like I explained the fact that I don't enjoy sunbathing. I don't understand why white folks go out and sunbathe, why we don't do that. So when you start, we have to have those like very, very, oh my God, let's tiptoe around your conversations about just breaking that comfort level. Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. Why do white girls flip their hair more and I don't flip my hair more? So I let her feel comfortable with all those stereotypes. And then we started talking. So I asked her a question. I said, were you born here in the US? Oh, yes. And this all goes back to, I said, do you know who Ruby Bridges is? And she said, no. I said, when we hang up, that's going to be your homework and we'll follow up. Now that right there is a problem. I know who Ruby Bridges is, and I didn't grow up in this country. But you went through the educational system here and you don't know who Ruby Bridges is. So we started talking about the differences. I said, my son needs to be able to feel comfortable to walk around any neighborhood, ride his bike, do whatever he needs to do. Not because of, just because he feels like it and me not having to worry. Yes, I've prayed. We talk about things, we've taught them all those things, but he needs to be comfortable just being him.
That's true.
And I know that if he walks through that neighborhood, you're not going to judge him by the color of his skin.
Yes.
And it's funny, I used an example. 2 nights ago, my daughter graduated from preschool and they were saying, what do they want to be when they grow up? So a couple of the kids there, one wrote, I want to be a construction worker. And 2 white boys there wrote, I want to be a police officer. So when I saw that, I had jitters in my heart. That should not have happened, right?
Yeah.
But let me explain why. So when we watch the dynamics, my daughter is like a tomboy. She has brothers, she could be a Barbie doll and tomboy. So when I see her, she plays around with the boys, and there are only 3 Black girls in her class, just 1 Black boy and all white boys. So these boys, most of their parents are construction workers, they're blue collar workers, a few of them are white collar workers, like it's a very diverse Catholic school.
Yeah.
So I noticed when I play around them, that this particular boy gravitates towards her, and sometimes he could be rough just because he's seen that she's comfortable. And that struck me. I don't know what they're teaching that boy in his house. And I told Lindsay, I said, the reason why it's a problem, why we have to bring you guys in is because your grandmas, some who are teachers now, were part of the protest that did not allow or want Ruby Bridges to go to school. So those grandmas now, when my son wants to hang out with your son or in school, those grandmas are still alive. They're going to interact with them, so that's a problem. Those grandmas are teachers.
Yes.
So I said, I need you to close your eyes. They're teachers right now.
Most of them teach that age, the preschool.
They teach that age, yes. They've been, oh my God, she's a great preschooler from back then. They teach that age. I said, now, where do I go from there? That grandma probably did not stand up to stop segregation back then.
Yep.
And she now has you, and you are telling me you don't know anything. That's a problem. Like Pastor Steve Furtick said, he said, it's the sin of indifference. When you're indifferent to what's going on, it's a sin. It's a sin. And we started talking. I mean, she asked questions. I said, go ahead and ask the dumbest questions. We laughed, we prayed, we got emotional, and it was good. So that's why this conversation, we've done this too many times. They need to come in, be uncomfortable, flip their hair, feel tugged at their heart, and ask the questions, because it's going to happen again if you don't drag them in. If you don't make that, I use that word drag because it has to be a forceful conversation, because my children are going to have to hang around with you. And I need to make sure that narrative has been stopped. Now, Tammy, back to what Tammy was saying about when do you start? I never ever really had a conversation with them. I don't even need to have that conversation. And I don't blame Tammy for feeling that way. But if you now have your child in preschool and the child comes to them and says, why does their hair feel that way? Why is your hair like this? My son's hair have that, that curly African hair. How do you respond to that? then those conversations may happen. It may not be race, but we'll be talking about, oh, I'm just different. And I told her, it's okay to be different. We can't all be Black. We all can be, it's okay to be different. I'm Black, you're white.
Yes.
My hair is different from yours. Things that I gravitate towards are different. And that conversation needs to happen. So that's why I said they need to be brought into the conversation. They are our teachers today. And you can imagine Ruby Bridges, when they asked her mother a few years ago how she felt, she said she regrets the fact that she let her daughter go through that. Wow. But the sad part is, after all that sacrifice, and Ruby Bridges was only 60, so imagine, Tammy and Amaka, your kids are 5, and you let your child be escorted to a school alone with escorts, because the whole mob, and if you look at the pictures, they are all white mothers that breastfeed their children. That's why you have to drag the feet. Mothers are so powerful. They breastfeed their children. They want the best. George Floyd's mother, there's a picture of her holding her son. That picture breaks my heart, because I can just see her face just saying, oh my God, I wish the best for you. This is all I want for you. The same thing with you, the white mother, the Indian mother. And that is all gone now.
All gone. Yep.
All gone.
I feel like
that's what that is.
I feel like, for everyone who's watching this, I feel like we should probably make an effort, especially while things are being heated right now, to have our kids watch the movie about Ruby Bridges.
Yes.
I feel like now is the time. There's things that you cannot really explain.
You can't.
But your kids, or rather, when you start to watch these movies and you watch movies about African American history,
yes,
it helps you put context into what you're trying to say and how you're trying to explain. And without even having to say much, your children get it. Yes. They understand. And I feel like once they know a little bit more about their history, it helps them handle these things well. The one thing that I want to say also, the other side of that is that while we're having them watch all of these materials, I as a parent would specifically want to ensure that when my son is watching this, he is watching this, but not, I don't know how to put this. I want him to be aware, but not necessarily angry about it to the point that when he sees a Caucasian, it's them people. You get what I mean? It's your people that did this, because it doesn't help anybody. You know what I mean? And I would hate, he's so young, I would hate for him at a young age now to carry that in mind that, we're Africans, African Americans are descendants of slavery, they were enslaved, to even share a restaurant with them was a problem, to be on the same bus with them was a problem. And then, children, their minds are shaped in a very different way. And then you spend all these years internalizing this and thinking every white person or non-Black people hate Black people and are racist. That's not the message that we're trying to pass across. And that's not what we want them to be at all. No. We want them to be what we're asking our Caucasians and not African Americans and not Blacks to be. Be inclusive and be loving of everyone. It doesn't matter if you're white, you're green. My thing is this, is like, as long as when you slice your hand there, if it's red blood that comes out, we are one. There's one human race. If they slice you and it's green blood, then it's a different thing entirely. That you're alien and start to die. That's a different thing. I can discriminate and be racist on that one too. You know what I mean? But for as long as we have the same color, blood flowing through us, the message we're passing to this to non-Blacks is that we are one race. So that's what I would hope, and I'm hoping, and how I want to continue to raise and teach my son. Yes, these things happen. This is our history. It helps you understand. And those of us that are immigrants, so to speak, I feel like we are learners when it comes to something like this, versus the true African Americans that are here. You know what I mean? Who know of their generations that were truly, truly enslaved. Yes. I don't know if my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, I have no idea. Do you? You probably don't. So the way it's a little different, but we can empathize, we can sympathize.
Yes.
No, you know what I mean? And because our children are born here,
yes,
our own formative years here.
Yes.
We were not born here. Well, a lot of us, some people were born here, but some people were born here and taken back to Nigeria or Ghana or Cameroon and raised and then back here. So you have largely had the formative years away from here. So it's a little different and the angle's a little different, but we're having our children, we give it to our children here. So they're largely just exactly like the African American counterparts. I want them to grow up in love, love everybody, be aware of your history, be aware of why things are happening.
Yes.
Things that have happened in the past. and are continuing to happen now. And God forbid you ever find yourself in XYZ kind of situation. These are the things to make sure that you have done. Yes. And as a Christian woman, at the end of the day, when I've done everything that I've been given the grace to do, which is to raise my child properly, the last thing I can do, or rather the first thing I would do is, that I can do at that point is just pray that we don't meet, or my children never ever come in contact with anybody where all of the morals and things that I've taught my child does not help them at all. Right. Where all they see is a brown skin or black skinned person, and they want to take their life away. At that point in time, I feel like it's in the hands of God.
So let me something about that education you said by your son. These kids are amazing, right? You've done a great job with your sons. All of you have done a great job with your sons.
Yeah.
Most of us as Africans, we're forgiving people.
Yes.
Let's just take that. We're forgiving people. How to retaliate? Voice, singing, how to respond back. Yep. Let me just say, I kind of get where the white Americans are. When I came to this country, I went to Howard University. I'm going to stop right now. I went to Howard University, and I had to take African American history. And I will never forget that one, Miss Taylor. Shout out to my Howard HU people out here. If you remember Miss Taylor, she was so passionate about understanding African American history. And it used to irritate me, and I'll be very honest. I'm like, oh my God, the Jim Crow. Oh my God, 1/3, 1/4. Oh my God, what are we doing? And she was going on and on and on. I mean, Howard lets you know about that whole back, but guess what? Bukola didn't take it seriously. Because guess what? I'm Nigerian. I'm just trying to get my grades. It was a lot. I failed that exam twice. And she called me, she's dead now. She called me, she said, Onadepo, she said, one day you're going to look back at this class, and it gives me chills. Like, I just remembered it last night. And you're going to say, I wish I listened more. But I want you to remember that when the time comes for you to use anything I've taught you in this class, you remember that I did it in fairness to equip you and let you know why. Now, it didn't bother me until I had a son, a male child. Then I started understanding this. You see now, like, it's not affecting you now, because then I'm just trying to get my grades. I'm new in America. This whole black thing, why are we talking about this whole black American thing? These are black Americans. Why are we talking about this? So she was so passionate about that. And that's me that came from another country. So now I have a son, and I'm dealing with the teachers in school. All they know is Martin Luther King, maybe one phrase. They don't know anything about Black history. They don't know about Ruby Bridges, which is so painful. Who are teachers, right? And I came from Nigeria, and I have to start asking you that question. So everybody needs to go back to history. It should be a history 101 with the real history. Yes. Everybody, doctors, lawyers, teachers, you, me, yes, the mothers, everybody, history 101. Yes. And it should be taught by African-American professors in colleges and campuses. It should be a requirement to join the police force, whether you're Black or white, learn the real history. Because now, you know what my sons are questioning? They're questioning, okay, so when this president that they say is a great president, Jefferson or whoever, I don't even know the presidents were. Was slavery happening then? What happened then? So those conversations need to happen again. So that's why our sons, they're fine. It's the other ones that need to come sit. And I just say, you know what? We need to be home, not protesting. They need to be out there protesting. It's about time. They need to be out there and change their narrative.
Yeah.
Speak up, because we can't do it alone.
We can't do it alone, which reminds me, guys, so let me just mention this, that we're going to have the third session of this next week, Saturday. And we are going to have our Caucasian friends here. Because when we had the first call last week, and I think Buki had brought up the issue, the comments, brought it up that we want to hear from them. One of my friends, Melissa, who I'd worked with at King Abdullah University of Science and Technology one time, she had joined the call, and she rallied up another friend of hers as a clinician. And she's like, oh yeah, and I follow them on social media, and I've been so proud of them and seeing how very intentional they are about passing on these messages along, right? And they definitely want to sit with us next week. So make sure you're here next week, Saturday, same time. We're going to try to see if we can get some of the men as well, because so far we have the women, but we're going to see if we can get some men as well. And if you do know of any Caucasian, men who would like to be a part of this, because it's important for us to hear and, know what's going on from their end, and seeing what they're doing on their end as well. So please holler at me, let me know what's going on. So before we go further, Sister Tolu, we haven't heard from you yet. How's it going? How are you feeling? Mama, but Sister Tolu is, I call her Tiger Mom. She is Tiger Mom, guys. So I want to hear from you. I know if she had an option, she would be out on the streets with Koboko, whipping the behind of every, racist Caucasian out there. If you not receive sense.
Oh my goodness.
Receive sense with Koboko. So ladies and gentlemen, Sister Tolu, please tell us, how are you feeling?
I was angry. I was frustrated because my son is 16 years old, and we did have a talk during the Trevor Masson period in 2012. I had, we had to have a talk with him, and he would, he asked a simple question: is it bad for you to wear a hoodie? Because that was what, that was what a lot of people said was part of the reason that the guy Zimmerman saw him in hoodies at 8 p.m. walking along the road. So my husband and I had to tell him that, no, it's not bad to wear a hoodie. But the problem is, if you wear a hoodie when it's summertime, it's going to raise suspicion. And a policeman has the right to stop you if he feels you're suspicious. So we now had to, educate them on a law that was passed in 1968 that was called the Terrain Rule or Stop, where a police officer may stop and, detain a person based on reasonable suspicions. And then, and I told them, I said, we now started having, different talks with them about, the way you dress. You can't sag your pants, you can't do this, you can't hang around. Even when he wants to go to the store, I have to, call him, tell him, if all your friends are taking things, if you know you're not going to buy, don't touch it. So it's really, we shouldn't be doing, but we just have to do it because as mothers, we just have to try your best, instill your values, the values you believe in your children, because values are very important. It provides clarity. And in my family, we have established different kinds of values. Respect is number one. Respect people irrespective of their color, their gender, their age, Stand up at any point in time for what you think is right. Be honest, have integrity, be empathetic towards others, regardless of color or race, because empathy is the foundation of compassion. So we just keep having these ongoing conversations and dialogue, trying to school them, trying to train them. We can only do as much as we can do. Because in the case of George Floyd, from all the videos, he wasn't resisting arrest. He wasn't dressed anyhow, but he still died. So it's really annoying for the fact that we're helpless. We can't do anything. But at the same time, we're praying that maybe a change will finally come, because this has been going on for generations, right from the time of Martin Luther. And one will think that it should have, gone, even if it hasn't gone completely away, but it should have reduced. But now I think it's just going, more. You keep hearing different things.
There's a lot of hidden racism. You know what I mean? I feel like people that have been under the surface.
Yeah.
And that is just, I was reading today, there's a I don't want to mention their names, I don't get sued, but there's a crab business. There's a family crab business. I was reading about it today on another group that's a popular seafood, they deal mostly in crab restaurant. They have, I think, 3 or 4 in the Maryland area. And, one of them posted something recently on Facebook. And, people, black social media does not play. They went and they're like, oh, if you're saying this now, it probably did not start today. They went and dug up Facebook comments from him and his mother from as far back as 2012. And it was ridiculous. Comments like calling people slaves, you know what I mean? Telling people that, oh, that you would look very well as a slave if your skin was a little browner.
In Maryland?
Oh, yeah.
She'll call them out. Call them out. It happened in Annapolis about the ice cream store just yesterday.
Say that again.
Call them out. The same thing is happening. It's the year of the rat, according to the Chinese
Call them out. Okay.
thing. They're allowed to be called out. They need to be called out. It's the year of the rat.
Please, can you let us know?
Yeah.
You can even text it
So,
to
you
me,
know,
and I'll put it
sharing
on
messages.
Instagram.
And you know the funniest thing is, so far from all the comments, it seemed like the people who patronize them the most are African Americans.
Yes.
We're the ones that eat the crabs, guys. We're the ones eating crabs. So right now, Black internet has canceled them, and they're trying to make sure that the word goes out there. Apparently, since they're in Baltimore or something, and then some other. I think it's a family-owned business. They've been in business for 30 years. So the son and the mother made a comment. I think the mother's comment in 2012 was, "Oh, black women with blonde wigs look like Duracell batteries or something." I swear to God, I'm gonna look for it now while we're, and then I will save it and I'm gonna share with you guys and I'll mention their names. Okay, come for us, it's me and you. So yeah, and that's the thing. It's kind of like build. So people were saying what this brought me back to the whole build, thing right there. People were saying, I never would have thought that this family was racist this entire time. A lady was like, she has bought out seats there times and times over, supporting their business because she felt like, she connected with them, she liked them, not knowing. So now she's saying, this entire time, I had no idea that this is how you guys felt about me, about my race. People are concerned. People are like, how do we even know that they had not been spitting in our food and all that kind of stuff. Like, so all of this was happening. Somebody else was like, I support and promote these people's businesses more than a black owned, seafood business. And so, and I spent like an hour this morning just reading and just thinking, how
it's bad.
How? Why?
And they have black employees. Okay, I'm sure they have black employees.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they do. It's the fact that they're like in 3-4 states. So people found all the different locations. Like, oh, they're in this place, they're in that place, they're in that
Shut
place.
it down.
People are reporting them to the, BBB. I'm like, can people report them to Facebook already so that they can call their behind up of social media? You know what I mean? But we need them to be on social media so that people can get at them. Like, so anyway, I'll share that in a while.
Can I add something to that?
Please.
Yeah.
So can I add something to that?
Yes.
So I came across, I don't know if you guys knew there was a Black Wall Street like years ago that got burnt down. So basically it was like black owned businesses and black people supported it and they did very well. They thrived on that. So there's this app now. Please, I urge every business owner, whether you're black or not, to download the app so you can support black owned businesses. Because looking back, I'm like, wow, I really was not in touch with that in the past. I didn't look at, how people say I don't see color. Well, now we need to be more intentional and support black owned businesses. So go to the app, register if you're a business. If you're not, they have a lot of resources that will guide you on how to use it.
What's the name of the app?
Black Wall Street.
Black Wall Street.
Okay. If I may add something, someone asked, how do you start bringing the children to dialogue? It's changed now, right? But I want everyone to realize, I hope I'm taking notes. Sister Tolu, empathy is the foundation of compassion. Every one of you, I need your notebooks out, we're taking notes. We're in school 101, everybody's in school, I love it. And if you all can see Miss Tolu's backboard, vision board, it's a mother go-getter doing everything she needs to do for a child. We're doing everything we need to do. But I'll tell you this, we as Africans, we come here, we're very obedient, we're very, just try to play by the books. We need to be able to have some of these conversations. Like a lady that I follow, Badass Bozoma, said, that whole terminology, angry black woman, it's okay. I'm an angry black mother right now. So perfect example, Tammy. I pray your son doesn't need to go to deal with this, but when the situation arises, do not be shy. Anyone out there, do not be uncomfortable to pull them in the conversation. And I'll tell you, give you an example. My daughter's in preschool, and it's a Catholic school. They've been around for since 1879 here in Elkridge, right? So she has the so-called, according to Africans, say good hair. The wash and go, put water in hair. It's curly. It's not like the typical. It's like how Shion's hair is now. Shion's locks, So I know she'll go ahead and flip it. Let me not flip. Ladies, pray for me. I just want this to stay on because I'm all ratted up now. I just want this, my little thing to stay on. But one day I went to pick her up, and then you know how sometimes the bands, she had her in a 2-band hair, and it came off. It is because her hair doesn't take certain types of like hair bands. Her dad did her hair that morning. So when I got there, the teacher was like, "Oh, can I talk to you?" And then she tried the wrong mother because I'm always ready to educate you. And she said, "Oh, I noticed that her hair was out. Maybe she plays with it. So she took it out and it's disrupting." And my blood was boiling because I just got off the phone with BGE. I was dealing with something at work, and it was that time of the month. And I'm like, I'm just gonna give this lady, because it was a pickup. And she said, so she just let her have a hair in. I said, okay. I said, Miss Jonathan, I'm going to say her name because me and her friends and I said, do you have 5 minutes? This conversation is a 1-week conversation. I'm going to abbreviate real quickly about Black hair. I'm going to educate about Black hair. I said, my daughter, like Ella, cannot run her fingers through her hair naturally. So, and there are different types of rubber bands that can hold her hair. So daddy used the wrong rubber band. He said, so if you see her hair poof has come out, it's because of the strength and tenacity of that hair. It cannot stand that power of that band. So like Ella can just put any kind of hair clip on, she can run. It's not going to happen to me. So like her hair is going to pop out. So why did I say that? I said, so you're a preschool teacher. You've been around young kids for a long time. So you should understand the difference. That's what behooves me, of the difference in Black and white kids. The fact that she didn't know that bothered me. And I said, and secondly, my daughter doesn't remember your name and it's been 2 weeks in school. Oh, I'm sorry. She was uncomfortable and it was in the hallway. I just had right there, just stop it, had that conversation. She was uncomfortable. I said, I just want to educate you on that. So our hair is different. So maybe I can leave some rubber bands on the school. That's why that hair is like that. So if you see me, you know I'm Black. There's no how you can tell like me. So you need to see that I'm Black and know that and celebrate that. But that conversation was uncomfortable for her, but she had to have it. You have been in the education system and you do not know that when the kids were different, you know about the curly, wrinkly girls' hair, redhead girls, but you don't know about a Black child that's in your class, that our hair is different. And I told her, so that means that Miss Ola cannot play in the mulch. Kids can't just put mulch in her hair when they play in the playground. Let's watch out for that because it's going to get all tangled up in her hair. We just can't wash. I mean, she was not expecting that 10-minute hair history. They need to know about those things. So I dragged her into it and I had a conversation. I said, when she goes into this, just like I said, it's like saying, if you give me your grandbaby and I take your grandbaby to the beach, I know to put sunscreen on your grandbaby because I know your skin is different from mine. Yeah. So that means I can't let you watch my child because how can you be in the educational system and not know the differences? But you know that a child needs sunscreen to go out. So I said, that's why that. She said, oh, okay, I apologize. Oh, that's true. Her hair is beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. But you didn't know that. You didn't teach it for so long. And you thought she was just playing with the hair. It just popped out. That's why the mothers have to be part of it. And I'm going to end on that. This Donald Trump, I don't want to call it, I don't know why I called his name. When they're interviewing him and they talk about his history, he hardly ever mentions his mother. That's a problem. That's where it stems from. That motherly instinct, that connection. And that's whole target of my child needs to be so good. I know our kids are going to be competent, but it's okay for my child to be, or anybody, and no Nigerian African child want to be incompetent because you're going to get the whooping. Sister Tolu's going to call you and be like, why didn't you get A? Why didn't you be the head of the board or whatever? Or Amaka is going to be like, no, you have to make sure you're well groomed, make sure your hair is in place. You know, you're a lady of influence, or Temi is telling you to be poised and everything. All these mothers or Salami is telling you what to do. Let me tell you something. The same way Johnny can go there and be incompetent, it's okay for Linda to go there and be competent and still not have any consequences. Let us be able to feel vulnerable. This expectation they put on the Black thing, that's part of the problem. If your son can be there and incompetent and not real, it's okay, mistakes happen. So that burden, they need to know about that burden. We already have great sons, great daughters. We have great sons. But my thing is, can you watch my son for 5 hours and me not praying, oh my God, what's going to happen? And I know you will not know what to do with my son. So that's where I'm coming with that. So Tammy, that conversation, if they have to talk about it, my son's one was about his hair. Someone made fun about his hair. And I said, tell them we cut our hair to avoid lice. I had a white friend that thought it was okay to send her daughter to school with lice. And when aboard, and I said, do you know why it's not okay? Because if a Black girl has lice, she has to cut her hair off.
Yeah.
I mean, if they don't know these things, and they're so, she got embarrassed. And this was in a boardroom, we're talking, she was like, oh my, and I said, why did you send her to school? They said, it's not okay. It's not normal to have lice and think it's okay. They've normalized what should be, and we have to live to that expectation. You have to bring them back. I said, it's not normal. I said, so those differences, we can't afford to tell her because you only have lice because you have clean hair. It doesn't stay on our hair. No, it's dirt. Dirt is dirt. So that is, she called, we're friends now. Thank God, we're so cool. And she was like, oh my God. I said, you didn't offend me, but this is what I'm talking about. You can't just make those assumptions because of you being blind, the sin of indifference. We're different. And it's okay, celebrate the difference. I'm not gonna stay in the sun. If I just had a perm or I just did my nice hair, I'm not gonna be in the rain and run in the rain. I'm gonna have to cover my hair.
Oh no. And we'll not be getting in the pool either. That's why
No.
This is why we're not getting in the pool, y'all. Or we get in the pool from here downwards, from the neck downwards. Protect the head. All right, guys. So hold that thought. We are coming back here. We're going to commercial real quick. For a minute, we have some sponsors, and I want to first of all thank Uber Style Women, www.uberstylewomen.com. We're going to run their commercial in a second, and then also U.S. college experts who help you when your kids are about to go to college. Can you people hear all of that in the background? Jesus Christ. Sorry.
The joys of juggling it all.
Guys. This is motherhood. So, okay, so we have US college experts, and we also have Pot Afrique. I'm going to run the commercial. We're going to be just for 1 second only. So please, God help us. God help me. 1 minute only, and we'll be right back. And when we come back, we want to tackle your experiences. If your children have ever experienced any form of racism and how you handled it, that's what we're coming back to talk about. 1 minute, guys, just 1 minute. This is a show on demand type of commercial. Don't worry, we're going to get there very soon where, we're going to be doing this like CNN at ABC. But in the meantime, you should not say we're being, we're local or anything. You say we're local, that's your problem.
You are. You're on YouTube. You're international.
This is so funny. Okay, so, which kind of hey, this was so cool. I promise you guys I know how to do this commercial. Just hold on 1 second.
Please call my boy Mario. That's why we have all these children that grew up. Now go and call my son Mario. Let him come and help you.
They already helped me to the point where they've given up. I had this thing.
Stop
here.
paying them.
I had this thing here, so. All right, maybe we should start that conversation while I look for this. I'm not sure why it's not popping up again. So let's do this. Sister Tolu, you have a 16-year-old son, right?
Yeah.
Has Jesse ever come to you, or even Jaden, Jaden's 13?
Yeah.
Yeah. Has he ever, have they ever come to you with having experienced like blatant racism, or maybe somebody said something and they how some kids, some people say something or do something and they have no idea what it is, but the parents, we know they've just been profiled, they've just been racially profiled, or that was blatant racism right there. What has been your experience so far? I know your son is preparing for college already, so throughout his life and so far up to
for my two boys, I constantly ask them, and they keep telling me no, and I don't know why. But the older one, who goes to Howard High School, did say that he notices it in school, but that he has never experienced it personally. That he noticed that the white boys tend to gravitate towards other white boys. Even some of the neighbors that he plays with here in our neighborhood, when they go to school, they only say hi to each other. But when they're at home, they play together. And he said he notices that also the African-American and Black boys gravitate towards each other. They eat lunches together and stuff like that. And I asked him, I said, do you know why? He now says, well, he doesn't really know, but it's just like it's what he sees. And I said, well, there's racism there, that it's instinctive and intuitive. It's not that they really want to do it, but it's what they're, it's maybe what their mind has been trained to do. They are not even aware. They may not be aware that they're actually doing it. And he says, well, that's and that most of the times he just says hi and then he goes away. So none of my boys have really experienced racism per se.
Okay. Anyway, just allow me. has Ibukun or his brother, has anybody ever come to you with anything similar?
Yes, I remember when Ibuku, my son, who's going to be 16 soon, had an issue with his teacher. I mean, she was a white lady, and I just noticed that somehow she wasn't friendly. She wasn't behaving well towards him. And for everything he did, good or bad, she would write a note in his agenda book saying he did this, he did that. And I wasn't finding it funny at all as an African woman, and I sent her notes and she ignored my messages. This made me know that I needed to step up. Apart from that, I am very, very, I communicate well with their teachers. I know everything about what they're doing at school. I'm on top of my game because I know somehow these children will need help when it comes time for someone to speak. So I went up to the school and I asked to see her since she refused to return my messages, and she was scared. She saw me because I bet you she's been doing this ever since to so many African American mothers, and she's been having her way. But I was ready to fight her. And I went to her and I asked her, why is she doing this? Why is she trying to make my son feel miserable? She just started apologizing. She said, oh, she didn't know, she didn't see I mean, how wouldn't you see several emails I'd sent to you? And why is it for everything he does, you have to write a note to me? Oh, he did this, oh, he did that. I know my son. I know what he's capable of doing. So what all of a sudden has made you tune to him and start, I won't call it bullying him, or I'll say picking on him.
Yeah.
So I stood my ground.
Yes.
I'm like, you can't treat him that way. He spent so much time. They spent nearly the whole day at school.
Wow. Is she still there now?
Oh, you're muted.
Just allow me, you're muted. You're on mute.
All kind of excuses. But what I'm trying to pull out here is that we as African mothers, we have to speak out. We have to stand our ground. We have to let them know that we are not just sending our kids to school, we are monitoring them. We want the best for them. We take no nonsense. So after that time, she started behaving well to him. I got no notes from her about my son, and we became friends. Why we became friends, I know why. Because she thought I wasn't a parent who was anything that happened to her child will affect. And I see so many of us not playing our game right, not doing our work right, not knowing their teachers, not having meetings, not following their grades, just trying to pay bills. I know it's tough out there, but these kids are so important because they are the ones for our future. They are the ones that will lead the way. They have to.
A lot of things that the men said to last week. A lot of the men said that too. Yeah.
We have to, apart from praying for them every time and reading the scriptures as Christians, train up a child in the way of the Lord. When he's old, he will not depart from it. Yes, we're doing all that, but we also have to act. We also have to stand up. we also have to make sure that our children are up there. They're the best in the class. They're doing all what they need to do. They don't need to call us, oh, they didn't do their homework. We also need to play our game. We also need to do our things right, so that the respect will be there, so that our children will have confidence in themselves, so that they can stand boldly to speak. Even if we're not there, they can speak and challenge any situation that comes their way. We have to train them so that at the end of the day, we rest in peace, because we have been able to give them the good thing at the beginning. So I pray that all we mothers, we up our game, because of all what's going on. We know where we're coming from. We want our children to be the best, to shine. Apart from praying and showing them the way of the Lord, we have to play our own, we have to play our own parts.
Yeah.
When they're coming back from school, the first thing I ask them, what happened? What happened to them?
Yeah.
I start with the rough time. What happened? What was rough at school today? And they tell me. This is our discussion all the way home. To the glory of God, I've been able to pick and drop my children right from the very first day of preschool till now. And I've been able to watch them grow and be by their side. Then I ask them, what were the good things that happened today? And they're speaking, they're vocal, they're not keeping things. So many times our African American mothers, they find out things way before they've happened to these children, because they're not in tune with them. They don't have a relationship with them. They're not playing, they're not doing their rights. They're not playing their acts well.
Yeah.
So this is just, so yeah.
It's very key here. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Last week, after we had the conversation with the men, I had a conversation with somebody reached out to me privately, a gentleman, and said, even if I did not take away anything from the conversation you guys had, he said, the men actually made him feel embarrassed. I was like, why? He said, he's a young guy in his early 40s. And he said, maybe I was too Nigerialized, but I literally left the raising of the children to my wife. What, excuse me, sir, what does that mean? He was like, I don't go, he said you were talking about you're giving bus driver gifts. You are taking gifts. He said, I don't do all that. I was like, no, seriously. I said, okay, so does your wife do that? He was like, well, in his mind, he thought by default, the woman is supposed to do all of those things because that was how he grew up. You know what I mean? When he grew up, he does not recollect one time that his dad was ever came to see, to his school. He does not recollect his dad. He said, other than his dad putting down the tuition fee, the tuition for school, he does not remember his dad ever involved. He was like international house photo. It was what's it called? And when he used to win awards for debates, his dad never showed up. It was always his mom. So by default, that's the way he's been doing with his family. So I asked him, I said, well, where's your wife right now? He was like, hey, she's here. I said, well, did she watch the video? He said, no. I said, make her watch it then, buzz me later. He buzzed. I said, so, okay, now, your wife, has she been the one, doing all of this thing? He said, well, come to think of it, she actually said, no, she's not been going to the school either. So he was of the impression that by default, his wife was doing all of those things. His wife, she's like, I'm busy. I have 4 children. Where am I? You know what I mean? She has one in high school, another one in middle school, another elementary. So she got kids in like 4 different schools. She's like, I don't have the energy and the time. And she's she works, she's a professional too. She's like, so she doesn't. She does make sure they do their homework. They turn in their homework. So he said, now I feel very embarrassed seeing how myself and my wife just let the ball down. And his takeaway is that when the school session resumes, they are going to be very, very, very hands-on parents and very hands-on in tune. And I'll tell you guys this. Some schools, some teachers tend to treat children very blatant and very offhandedly when they don't see a strong parent behind them. when they think they can do anyhow and say anyhow. Listen, my son's school, they know, you people already know me already. I don't play and I do not joke. Oh, that's Mayo's mother. Oh, yes, I will be in school. You said what now? Oh, you did what now? Oh, I will be there and I will write to whomever it is that I need to write. I know all of their names and all of their numbers. Reach out to me. PG County executives from top to bottom that are in charge of education. You talk to my child, you disrespect my child, you're racist towards my child in any shape, form, way, you're going to get it. We're not going to let it slide. And I think I've made that very clear. And so they know, you know what I mean? My child gets, I make sure that my child gets everything that he should be getting from the teachers, just the same way his non-brown and non-African. And you know, another thing people have to understand is this, especially for those of us who have children whose names are not Mary and Joseph and Peter. Your children are already discriminated against when they say, what is your name? My name is Ola Oluwatomi Sin Shekineko Kineko. The teacher already cancelled you halfway already.
Say it loud and proud.
I'm telling you, they already cancelled you halfway, like they're not even listening to the rest of the things you're about to say. It's like, oh God, another African. So your kids are already dealing with that. Then how much more the fact that they're all, you know, black or they're brown skin. There's so many things that they're working against. It is important for you to be a strong front behind your children in everything, whether it's sports, whether it's education, wherever it is, you know, make sure that you are there, you are present, and you are aware, and people around them know and they see you. Otherwise, those ones that don't have plenty sense will just treat your children anyhow. And that's the last thing you want is for your children to go to school and come back and, you know, with low self-esteem and thinking that is the norm. Yeah. You know what I mean? You wanted to say something?
And I want to add something to that, Shem.
Yes.
I think this is a very important point. I think because we're immigrants, we work so hard, we're very busy,
Yes.
but we forget that we're competing, our kids are competing with stay-home moms that are dedicating their whole time at home with their kids. Yeah. If the school, my kids are just in kindergarten, right? But I know that I try my best to volunteer. When emails come out for volunteer on field trips, I'm there. I'm going to take the day off from my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the day off. I want to be there because I want a presence. I want you to know that I'm their mom and I'm not just another black mom, right? I want to be involved. I want to see what's going on. If they're going to go on a field trip or on a bus, I want to see where we're going, where we're sitting, what's happening there. So I think we as immigrants, I know as busy as we are, a lot of us have, you know, 2, 3 jobs. I understand, but I think sometimes it's worth taking that day off to be there, volunteer for things, PTAs, at least PTAs. Try to be there. Let your child see you there. You know, sometimes there's Thanksgiving parties, Christmas parties, Valentine's Day parties for kids. Yes. Show up at one. If you can't go, let your husband go. Let someone be there. Let there be a presence. Because some of these moms, Caucasian moms, they don't work. They're full-time moms. Yeah. They're there all day. And then their kids are going to get preferences. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you do. The teacher knows who they see. They know, that's who they know. They know who they see and they know the child of who they see. That's what they're going to give preferences to. Yeah. So I think it's very important that we start thinking about how to be there, how to get involved, and then talk to them like Miss Balogun, Sister Launi said, talk to them, ask them. They're going to tell you. The good thing is, like, unlike we grew up in Africa where we're not encouraged to speak, right? So an adult, you grow up, you just shut up, and you know you're not even supposed to speak when an adult is speaking, right? And we've brought that here. But luckily, our kids are gonna talk. So if you ask them, what happened? Who did you play with? Who is your friend? What happened? Oh, we had a fight. What happened? And then they're gonna tell you innocently what happened. But you as a mom, you're now thinking you're kind of making, you're adding one and one together. You know, they might not even know it's racism. They might just say, oh, we fought and the teacher sent me to see the principal, but they let Steven stay back. They don't know it's racism, but you know, because you know Steven is a white kid, your child is a black kid. So I think we need to start speaking. We start making our time to speak to them, ask them every day, you know, you got into trouble, what happened? What happened? And let them tell you, because they will tell you if you ask them. So that's kind of what I wanted to add.
Absolutely. Okay, so guys, we are going to open the phone line so that you guys can call in, right? And then I see some comments, some questions in the comment section, and some people are texting me right now. So we will deal with the comments, guys, questions rather, I have a question, what do you do when your 5-year-old says, my white friend refuses to play with me? We're going to tackle that. Somebody said, are the kids in America here, our kids that we're raising, do we feel like they're too sheltered? And that brings me back to Amaka's, comment about how we were raised in Nigeria in fear, so to speak, versus our kids here are liberal. So we'll tackle those questions. We'll throw the questions and just have you guys, and then we'll open up the phone lines. I'm going to post the number on YouTube in the comment section. But back again, we're going to try our bootleg ad. Guys, nobody should abuse me. Nobody should insult me. We are getting there. So hang in there. Bookie, stop. Oh my God. Wait, though. Wait, what happened on YouTube? Hey, YouTube, embarrassing people from 2020 was working yesterday. God.
Mayo, come and help your mother. This is your immigrant's mother. Mayo.
Wait. I think it's just me. Hold on.
Where's my son? Let him come and help you, Shil.
I don't even know. He has people over here. So I feel like if I ask him to come.
Hey, yeah. Need to pay that boy.
Hold on. This is crazy. So what?
So
you guys, wait. We're gonna add this at the end of it also, but I don't find this very funny because right now what I'm seeing right now is my folder. Show it on YouTube. This is very ridiculous.
Why are you figuring your bootlegger? Let me chime in on. Someone was saying something about how do we get our African American mothers to be involved, and I love what Amaka said, to be visible, and all that. Sheon and I, how do we meet? Is it through our kids not trying to go to school? We're bus drive. We chased the bus together. You remember that, Sheon?
I do.
The first day our kids got on a bus to make sure that I have your back. We chased the bus to the school to know who the driver is.
Yeah.
And if there are single moms out there, and there are other moms who are busy in a family that has husband and wife, but they're busy, you also have to find someone that can be that your go-to person they can fall vulnerably with. Mm-hmm. Every mother needs that support group. And my prayer is that you find that friend that you can fall vulnerable with, that to share your struggles as a mother, because there's no award here. We're just winging this thing, but you can wing it with someone to help you. Like Sharon, I'll ask her questions, is texting. Sharon, we don't even really hang out, but when it comes to our sons and raising stuff, we're there. We're all there. So I know you're busy. If you know you cannot do it, have that friend that can be that your child's voice, that can be there. Like if I can go for a field trip, I have another mother in class, I'd be like, you're gonna be Zachary Kumi or Miss Ala's mom on this field trip. And I got you on the next one. I don't like going to the yard, the pumpkin, and the teachers know I don't like anything messy. Let them know, I don't want to front. So my friend that likes that, she's gonna be the chaperone. Now, if we're going to the zoo, I'm gonna go to the zoo. And I'll tell you why. It's not funny, but it's true. Do you remember the whole Harambe issue with the gorilla?
Yes.
I said, I don't trust you all around my kids. That baby fell in that thing and they said, oh, it's the child's fault. No. I'm going to go there because the mindset of these people, it's appalling. Have that parent group. When you get them, my prayer is that when you go to your preschools, your first grade, kindergartens, you start asking God to bring the right people that will help support and cover your flaws. That you can't get it all. I don't know it all. I don't. So if you're a single mom out there, somebody asking those questions, if there's that uncle or that your friend's father, I'm gonna need you to sometimes show up. I need the man to show up sometimes. Or you show up when you need to show up, but it's that unity that we need. And working together, that's the platform I work on, is helping mothers. I'm passionate about boys. I love boys. I'm all into boys, the boy child, because we're raising the next dad, the next presidents, the next CEOs, and everything we're doing now is vital. So Amaka, kudos to that. And just allow me saying that about being involved and being there. And it's just other parents who are working, like reaching out to them. Babe, I haven't seen you coming to Funke's house, Funke's show. What's going on? Do you need help? Let me know. Let them know that if you're not there, Shen is there. How many mothers does this boy have? I have 2 mothers.
Yeah, everything. Yep, I'm telling you. And I've done that too before with like some of our Nigerian moms who are kids in our school, where during what's it called? What's this award ceremony that they do? Honor roll.
Honor roll,
and they cannot schedules. I even though we're not, you know what I mean? Maybe myself and the parents are not friends. I just know them that this is just okay. And on a roll, when they call the child's name and I don't say anything,
you are yelling. Yes.
And you know, I will take pictures of the child, get everything.
Yes.
Number, I'll shoot it. Like no one here is going to look at you with that pity eyes. Like you don't have somebody. As long as I'm there and as long as I know, you know, I'm aware of you. I know you. You have a mother that day. And that's the funny thing with my son's school. I feel like I'm everybody's stepmom over there because as soon as I come, like Maya's mom, hi Maya's mom. I'm like, oh my God, my mom is like,
yes, let them know you. Let them someone,
you know, and it's so much fun, and it doesn't. I feel like it doesn't take anything.
It does not, and vice versa to the white friend. It happened to me. It happened to me like the other day in school. That's why the other day I threatened the principal. I said, I'm moving. I'm going to take my kids on this one. She said, no, you're not leaving because you're an asset. Because they know, look, I tell the principal, I'm never going to call you by first name, but I tell you, I can switch between being street Miss Edmondson Day and being very, very, very professional Miss Edmondson Day. I tell them there are 3 personalities. There's Bukola Edmondson Day, the professional that worked hard. And the second person is Bukola. But what you don't want me to come to school as is Zachary's mom or Kumi's mom or Miss Ola's. When I come in that phase, that means you failed.
Yeah.
They need to know that I have 3 personalities, the professional, the friend side. But if I don't want to have to come to school as the mother of my child, because if I'm coming to you, then you failed. I had to call out my son's teacher, dealing with it now. She was just blatant on our races. And from the first, I knew there was an issue. So when we had a meeting and came there, I wasn't intimidated. I said, there's nothing wrong with my child. I said, the issue is you. She said, I've been in school teaching 13. I said, well, you've been in the wrong profession. I said, because you don't have a heart. And this is not a lie. My husband was there. I said, you've been in the wrong profession. I said, you don't have a heart for children. I said, I didn't go to school to learn how to teach kids. But if you don't know how to, like Ms. Laomi was saying, not label a child and see the best in a child, then you're in the wrong profession. You need to call them out. It's okay, I've been teaching, forget all that. And parents, I mean, there's a platform I run like to help parents how to have those conversations. You know, we Africans, like Amaka said, and Ms. Lami said, you know, we don't play, but you want to be careful. You don't want to come up like they think, oh, she's African, she's not going to say anything. They need to know that you're there. Have those conversations, challenge the teachers. Maybe your teaching skill is not up to date. Like someone brought a book about books about to raise Black boys. Go read the book. Go read the book. So it's your own perspective that needs to, how are they getting better at handling these things? Like the mother that said something about, oh, my child doesn't have a friend to play on the my 5-year-old, you're going to bring that teacher in and say, how are you handling this? This is 2020. So it's a teacher that's not seen through the pyramid, through the perspective of love, to know how to break those barriers. You bring them in, have those conversations. My son's basketball team, when I'm there, I mean, there are only like 3 Black boys there. They don't even know which one is mine. I'm yelling all the sons' names. It's a predominant white school. Of course, the Black ones will play well. But one day, one grandma came and it struck me. She said, so which one is yours? I said, all 12 of them. And they all laughed. So everybody's like, oh my gosh. And someone here can testify when we all go, say, which one of them? All 12 of them. They're like 7, 8, they're all mine. They didn't know which one my son was. They didn't know which, but that's it. If I can be there for you, that intentional, you need to be intentional.
Yeah.
And the name thing, about the names, I had a thing of my son, his name is Kumi Kumi, and I know what I went through before we got that name, you know, and his middle name is Nathan. So one day he came and he said, I want to make myself Nathan. I said, okay, why? Why? I said, okay. I said, you're going to call yourself Kumi, and I'll tell you why. Do you know what it means? He explained. Oh, okay. Now, fast forward to last season basketball, they had 2 Jonathans playing on the same basketball team. They had 2 Noahs, they had 2 Jacksons, and everybody shouted, oh man. So he's not gonna say, and I said, you know what? It's okay. Teach them how to pronounce it. Tell them what it means. That confidence, it's okay. Be uncomfortable, ask me. So now I said, you're going to be the only kumi, except if you go to like maybe a school in predominant, maybe a PG County, like 4 days or 4 Ayomides there. But where you are there, celebrate that. That's why I tell people, I don't abbreviate my name. You go, my friends, my coworkers are like, oh, so you're Buki? I said, yeah, not to you, to friends, but we're coworkers. Let them know that. I said, we're coworkers. And I hold the ability to invite you to my country club the same way you also have. They're privileged, they're levels. If you've not shown me that you've done your research, you want to come higher, you can't come to this country club. They're different levels. I can't just go to any kind of country club. I have to have membership or a certain accolade. So it's the same way. For you to call me Buki, so let them celebrate those names. Their books don't have Folake or Temi Tokwe in the books. Maybe that should change. If their mothers are, you want to write a book, let's meet together after. Let's start writing books. Temi Tokwe goes to school, not Temi. Temi Tokwe goes to school. Fola Shade dances, ballet, and Shade, all those things. If you have friends, encourage them. Reach out to those your mom friends that struggle. Let's not judge them. We're in this together. I'm telling you the power of women. It's a woman that made sure that your children, your sons, are in a school in America now, Ruby Bridges' mom, because she said, my child will go to school alone and break this. A 5-year-old girl by herself, and there are like 1,000 women who are mother's age chanting that she shouldn't go there. So a mother stood up and made that decision.
Yeah.
So help find the mother friend. All of you on there after this, reach out to her, talk to her. Do you need help? Let's drop that. We need that support. Like I said, Shio and I mean, is chatting, but she knows if I see Mayo anywhere, I got his back. I know I can leave my kids around it. She got their back. And the single mothers, help them out there. Help them. And the dads, drag them in. I told my husband, you can't forget that meeting, because I'll tell you what, forget that meeting. You're going to show up. You're going to show up. I'm not the only one in this. Bring them into it. Have those conversations. Have them conversations.
All right.
Let them know we're here.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you.
Takes a village.
It takes a village. It takes a village. That's an African proverb, and we're bringing it, and it makes sense. It takes a village. So somebody said, what do you do when your 5-year-old says a white friend refuses to play with you? How would you respond to your kids? What do you do when your 5-year-old says, my white friend refuses to play with me?
Can I answer that, Sharon?
Sure. Tell me, please.
It might not be a race issue. It could be something else. It could be out of, frustration when they're playing a game. You took my car. You don't want to share. Kids have these weird reasons why they're upset at each other, but then they start playing again. So ask your child why. Ask your child to ask why. I'm sure your child knows. If it is something that's related to racism, I'm sure your child will know, but they might not identify it as racism, but they'll explain it, and then you can put the pieces together. But I don't want people to just automatically think, oh, that person, is racist because they decided not to give me a service or play with my child or something. So just dig deeper, find out the reason, and then deal with it.
So that's another thing. I like that angle, Tammy. It's also that while we're discussing this, I want to encourage people to be a little bit objective in a lot of things. Yeah. I discourage us saying everything is race related. Maybe you didn't get the job. Oh, it's because I'm Black. Or, she looked at me somehow, it's because I'm Black. This is, yeah. In many instances, they're like that. But a lot of instances, they are also not like that. People are human. People can be having a bad day. She may have, she may have rolled, she may roll the eyes at you when you came to order. It doesn't mean she didn't roll her eyes at 20 other people before you. Yes, maybe she didn't roll her eyes to Becky with the good hair just before she took your order. But, maybe in between Becky and the good hair and you, her manager just cussed her out. So by the time she turns to look at me like, what? It's because you're Black. Nothing to do with that. It's just because her manager just cussed her out, right after Becky. I just like to say Becky with the good hair, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Right. So we have to be very careful about that, guys. I really encourage that. Everything is not, sometimes you might not have done, yes, it's very possible that Setula got the job before, Toby, because Setula is more qualified. Setula is a Jewish name. You might be your eyes like that. I try to find the video of Setula. Okay, she's talking to somebody. So Taylor is a Jewish name. It might just be that maybe he did interview better, right? It might be that he was just more qualified. You cannot necessarily just say he got the job because he's white and you're black. In a lot of cases, they are. In some cases, they're not. So we have to be responsible as well for this and make sure that we are being objective. Like I mentioned in the comment section, the one thing I don't want is that we are trying to eradicate racism against Black people, right? I don't want us to encourage racism against Caucasians or other skin color, other types of people. That's not for that. You know what I mean? We're trying to eradicate on our end. It makes no sense for us to start propagating and trying to do that. You know what I mean? It makes no sense at all. We cannot stop one and kick off another one. We have to find a way to heal and balance each other out. So I'm posting the number right now on, I'm going to post the number now on YouTube. And one of our YouTube commenters says, Buki, I like when you say all of the 12 are mine. This shows love, no discrimination. Kudos to you. Okay. So while we're waiting for people to call in, let me also ask this. What are some of the things that, and this is like my final question to the panel before we ask people to dial in. So I feel like every one of us here was raised, had some years of being raised in Nigeria, or at least had very traditional Nigerian parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What are some of the things that maybe you hated back then, but now you kind of understand the importance of why your parents were that maybe strict or hard on you, and that you feel like you are going to implement or are implementing those same things with your children, especially because of the society that I say this all the time. America is a land of, when they say the free, truly is the free.
Is it free?
It's as free comes. Like they are liberal to the core. It's over here that, you know, a parent will say, oh, you know, Joseph, you know, sit down over there and don't touch that. No, you don't tell me what to do, huh? Boy, you try that in a Nigerian home, you better go and dig your grave and bury yourself. You know how when you do something, you cry already, you've cried as if they've already killed you. You're gonna be begging people that you have never even prayed in your life. That's when you remember my book of Bible stories, that orange book. You go and bring it, be reading to yourself. You have dug your grave your own self. In fact, buried yourself, and your parents have not even opened their mouth though. Like you've died. And because you know when they start, it will take the whole village to save you. And if you're not careful, some of the village aunties are even worse. They will come and add their own. As your mom is slapping you on the left, the auntie will be like, yeah, don't beat her, just beat her small. They will smack you on the right hand side. Reset your brain, constant resetting. That's what I say. I feel like when we're growing up, our parents were constantly, if they were not using their hand, they were using one, and I wish I brought them one broom and the rest of those things. They had different instruments, ways to reset your brain. Or it was with their mouth. By the time they, you know, I hope my dad is not watching. Okay. So like my dad typically, I think I only remember once that my dad beat me once, and twice actually. One time my sister borrowed money from me in school, went to Christian school, Bagada then, and one of those lollipops that was like a flute. I don't know if you guys remember that lollipop. Yeah, lollipop that was like a flute. It was the in thing. So the man was selling that flute. So I diligently brought my money from home and my sister did not. So she came to me and said, borrow me money. So I borrowed her money and she was supposed to refund the money. We're in primary school. This chick, pay time, she didn't return my money. That's now turned into fight. That's how I beat my sister. Gave her mark on her hand. My dad didn't be living the life out of me that day. That was number one. Number two, when my sisters left, when there were three girls, and my sisters, you know, moved, left second primary school and went to FGG, correct? Hey, particular girls, I'm not one of you, but hey. So, and I was the only one left, you know, Bagada. We're living far away, you know, but my dad's like, why are we driving all the way for one child? Let's move her to, what school did he take me to? I think it was Paco International. It was Paco International. So, and you know, as a kid back then, I've been seeing all these kids walking on the streets. I thought it was cool to be out there, freedom, walking up and down the street. Whereas we are sitting tight inside the car, with air conditioning playing in your ears. I thought, to be honest, I'm just a very weird person. I just thought it was punishment. I felt they were living the life because you could see them screaming and shouting on the road, kicking ball, but we had to, you know, so it felt like God was punishment. One day, unfortunately, that's how the school released us earlier. And I think they communicated to the parents. somehow, some way, my parents didn't know, right? Because we used to do after school lessons. So the driver was supposed to come XYZ time. That's how I saw kids leaving the school at 2 p.m. As I carried my bag, like I followed them. I was like, because when you're driving back, there were no phones. So your face was always glued to the window. You felt like you knew the way to your house and back. So I thought I knew the way to my house. Like, Shabi, when the driver picks me, just go through, they will go down the bridge, they will walk, go straight, then pim. I didn't realize that everything I had been describing was like a good half an hour drive. Imagine me trying to walk. By the time I finally got home, so I was walking with the kids, little by little, this one will branch, enter our house. That one will branch, enter his house. By the time I knew what was going on, it was pitch black. I left school at 2 p.m., guys. 2 p.m. By the time I knew what was going on, it was pitch black. Because when this one turns, I will follow this one. Not realizing that one was going to our house. I thought we were all going together. So by the time this one enters her gate, I'm like, I'll make a U-turn, go back to where I started from again. By the time it was pitch black. By the time I finally made it to the front of our house, the whole neighborhood was in the compound. My mother was on the floor. And this was Bomo era. Do you guys remember Bomo era? So they were, in fact, if it was possible to print obituary, they would have printed it by then. They were shouting, they were screaming. Instead of my father to be excited and happy that I came home alive, this man beats the living daylights out of me.
Only you. See,
so
every
like
time.
Instances. But other instances, what he used to do is his mouth there, he will straighten you with the things that.
Yes.
So I know hearing a lot of people, shy away from using the belt or the, whatever to spank kids, because anybody trying to go to jail, over the kid that you pushed out, God knows how many hours of labor. So what are some of the things that you took away from your upbringing, being raised under the typical Nigerian household that you feel like you're implementing now because it's necessary? You know what I mean? Like, because of first questions, are you guys liberal parents? Like, you just let your kids do and undo?
Combo.
Like, Amaka, your son comes to you and goes, Mommy, you stupid. I go, oh my darling honey, don't say that. Come here, give it this.
Amaka is like, no.
That can't happen. I usually tell my sons, I tell them that they have everything they can possibly have.
Yes.
They have no excuse not to do well. We went to college fetching water on our heads.
Yes.
We studied with candles. We studied with lanterns. We'll come back. We have to make our food sometimes ourselves. Sometimes we walk to and fro from school in the rain, in the sun. They have no excuse whatsoever. And back home then, how dare you talk when an elder is talking? Or try to chip in some conversation when an elder is talking? How dare you? So many things, some of us, we come here and we forget where we're coming from. We come here, we forget we have a culture. We forget that we have training. And this is what we have to instill into our children. This is what has brought us to who we are today. I tell them that you must do the best of what you can ever be. You must be the best of what you can ever be. You have the opportunities that we never had. Tons of scholarships in this country. They already have the syllabus. They already have what you're gonna read. Back home, you don't know what the lecturer is gonna put for your exam. It may be out of content, totally out of content. Over here, all you have to do is study what they give you, and that's what's going to be in your examination. But back home, we're studying everything we can possibly study because we don't know where it's coming from. The lecturer just assumes, either if he's taught you or he hasn't taught you, he assumes you should find out.
You should know.
Yeah.
Our children have everything on a platter for them. They don't have no excuse whatsoever to not do well, to not have straight A's. There's no excuse.
I agree. I agree.
So I challenge all our mothers. I know that we're doing most of the work. We continue to do this because we want the best of our kids. We want them to have what we didn't have. And we want to rest at the end of the day and tell ourselves, well done.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Amaka, what do you think?
I think that also we have to start early.
Mm.
So I think that we have to remember that if you don't start early enough, a time will come when it's too late. you 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 have to start from telling your child, because if you don't tell your child, they're going to hear it outside. If you don't give them your own version at home, if you don't tell them at home the version you want them to know, they're going to go to school, they're going to spend more time in school at some point, because after school they're going to games, so they're going to spend more time outside and get influence from outside.
Yes.
So I think some of the root cause of what we're seeing now is because we didn't start early to talk to them. Discipline, I feel I don't spare the rod, and I'm going to put it out there. I have 3 boys, and I don't spare the rod. I think that I'm doing that so that I can, like Ms. Balgu said, have peace of mind and rest in peace.
Yes.
Because if you don't sort them out at home, they're going to disgrace you outside. There's no two ways about it.
Yes. I agree.
So that's my view. I mean, I don't, and I tell their teachers, and I tell them, I said, I give you the permission to discipline my child for just cause.
Same.
Yes.
It's not one of those moms that say, oh, no. I tell my teachers, their teachers, it's okay to discipline them for a just cause.
Yes.
Because I don't want them to feel like I can go to school and do whatever. After all, in school, anything goes.
I agree.
Because that's what happened. And it happens even in Catholic schools. You can only discipline, there's a limitation of what you can do. Maybe timeout, or there's some limitations.
Yeah.
So again, my kids know, I mean, I'm trying my best. They're, like I said, the twins are 5, my baby is 4. They know what time it is. My husband doesn't spare the rod either. So we just don't spare the rod at home. There's no space for that.
There's no space for that. Awesome. Sister Tolu, what do you think? And what's that Tolu space? This reminds me of something that she did too. Like, that's why I say I rock with her. Like, I admire her and the way she raises her boys, Like, a lot of things. Like, I see her doing all the homework right now, and I'm like, continue doing the work. When my son gets to that age, please just give me all that information. That's the way I say, like, pass
expo.
Statolu has all the expo. So I remember very well. So I teach in Sunday school in church, right? So, I've taught different age ranges, like from 6-year-old even to 12 at different times. So I remember, I think it was her older son. You went to that age where you like to try things. And I think it was at that age when he would like to push buttons and see to what extent he could go. So I remember very clearly that I spoke to her. This was when we were just even getting to know each other well. I spoke to him like, when he's misbehaving. And because I know his mom, I'm just looking at him like, this child. So one day I told her, I said, your son, she said, if he misbehaved, she dragged him to the front of the class so that the whole class could even hear. She said, let me tell you right now, and I'm telling your teacher in front of you, if you misbehave, deal with him. I will come back and I will It was so funny because, what's so funny? Parents will say, oh, I don't want to embarrass my kids. No, not how. She brought him to the front of the class, said it in front of all the kids and myself. Let me so that there are witnesses now. I am giving your teacher the authorization and the right to discipline. This was how she did that. Discipline you if you misbehave. Then when you finish that one, you now come and meet me, and I'll do another one again. Please.
Yeah. This is so funny because a couple of years ago, teenagers, when they get to a certain stage, they try to test, especially the mother's patience.
Yes.
So he's been getting like reports in school that he was using his cell phone when he's not supposed to use it, blah, blah, blah. So I gave him the first warning. The second warning, I seized his phone for a month. Then the last warning, I told him, I said, I will come to your school and in front of your classmates, you will have to apologize to your teacher. Mm-hmm. And he actually believed, and I was actually going to do it. And they know me because I am strict. I'm the tough one at home. My husband is a little bit soft, but he balances out really, because we can't both be hard and we can't both be soft.
Yes.
But the thing we try to do is have a common ground. Whatever decision or punishment we're going to give them, we discuss it and then we take it, we carry it out. And they also know that they can't mess with me. Because my parents growing up, they taught us about a lot of things. You have to be courteous, say thank you, say please, be respectful. And he knows sometimes when I talk and he goes, I said, what did you say? He said, nothing, Mom, nothing, So he knows he's going to get it. And because they are boys, I always tell them, I said, no matter how tall you are, I'm going to take a stool and I'm going to still spank you, because that's what my mom used to tell me. And there was a time I enrolled in martial arts. I said, no matter your age, I'm going to self-defend myself and I'm going to beat you down. It was all a joke, but at least they do take me serious, that when it comes to some certain things, they know what our expectations are. There was a time, I think, let me just share the story. There was a time we used to go to the store and my older one is always, oh my God. So I was telling him, I was trying, everybody was in the store, stop it. He kept, touching everything. Stop it. I said, okay, come. I pinched him and he was going like this. People didn't see what I was doing, but they could see him going, and I released him and I walked away. I said, nothing happened. So that was a teachable moment for him. And the lesson he never forgot. Constantly have to, keep talking to them, because now they are the age that I can't really spank them anymore. But they know that consequences always comes.
Consequences, especially for boys.
Especially. And I always tell them, you have to make choices. In life, you have to make choices. Whatever choice you make, good or bad, comes with the consequences. Yes. And God has given you that intuitiveness for you to be able to discern what is right from what is wrong. So there's no excuse for you saying, oh, I did this, when you have a choice in the matter and you have your instinct to guide you. So these are conversations I keep having with them, and we can only just try our best, and then hope our best is good enough.
I think in the US it's different. I just heard that my mother joined. Hey, I don't know why my brother invited my mother, but Mommy, good afternoon. Welcome. I hope there's light. She's in Nigeria.
Respectful child that you are booking, you have to greet that
the first child. Hey, but let me tell you, it's different. You have to have that balance. Mm-hmm. For example, I remember when I was in school, I went to Queen's College, QC. Yes. So next to QC is Unilag. Like you, Shell. We finished early one day, and then there's Suya. That's Unilag Suya, we know it. So that day, I forgot that my mom was going to come and pick me up. So I went to my friends, follow, went to go and buy Suya. So I came back and I saw her waiting. And then my mom used to dress her. She's like a baby. Amaka reminds my mom. Amaka with a little shell. There's not, that's all. Then my mom was just there and I saw her. Her like, oh my goodness. Where are you coming from, Bukola? I said, I went to the library. Where are your books? I was studying English. You know what my mother did? In Queen's College there, and there were, some boys there in the parking lot. I just said, pass on my face. Said, you're going to go and do English? And am I a fool? And there are no books in your hand? I said, okay. I went home, but let me tell you how I did it for my child here in the States. So my husband was traveling a lot. And then I was virtually a single mom for almost 4 years. Little child, I had a job as a contractor. You know how contractor jobs are, right? He's in a private school, Catholic school. Yes, he got funding because he academically did well, and the principal loved him. But there's a dining hall that they have there whereby you can put money on the system and you just go eat. So I've told my son, I said, when you go, I've packed lunch, only Mondays and Fridays that you can eat at the dining hall, right? And he said, okay. For some reason, I don't know why. They didn't know that I would get the alerts anytime there's a payment or my account was used. So he just thought it was being smart. And he ordered, now look at what he ordered. And he's ordering grilled cheese, $2.25. So one day I was trying to leave my old job and I was on an interview and I didn't get the job. And so I was just upset and everything. And I just dropped him. I just got that ping. Oh my goodness. I just drove back to the school and I went to the lobby. And I said, good afternoon, lady. So, hi, Miss Edmonds. I said, please call my son. And there were like other students and parents in the hallway. This was like at 9 in the morning. We just dropped off kids. I was just mad, and I had a meeting. I was like, I need to just check it now. I think he was in 3rd grade then or so, but I was so angry. I just felt like I'd worked so hard. I didn't deserve this. And I felt this is the son I'm trying to raise, and it's just not fair. And the principal saw me. Oh, my lady, hi. I'm like, uh-oh, what happened? I said, send for your son. So this one thing I do for those teachers. I said, I'm giving you my son. You should call him your son because you are with him longer than I am most of the days. So I said, if you cannot take care of your son, then you failed. So it's like a indirect reverse psychology I do for do it for those teachers. Just your son, your daughter. That way, it's forcing them to think that if you act a fool, I'm gonna come after you. So the principal was like, what did he do? And there was quiet. Then in the lobby, and predominant white school. So he comes and mommy, and I'm sitting down there, and I just said, on your knees. And everyone's eyes just went ajar. This was a few years ago. This is here in Anne County, and he knelt down. And he knew immediately. I said, did I not tell you that you're not allowed to just swipe anyhow on that card, that there's a limit on it? Say, yes, mommy. I said, I'm sorry. I said, Neil, slapping him then, yelling at him, that embarrassment in front of the school was enough for him. I know you have to know your child and what works. Yeah. And at that point, the principal just stood there and she's like, oh my goodness. I said, you know what you're gonna do? I said, now that's mommy and dad's money, and what you're doing and you're taking from it. And he's there, he's apologizing. I said, if you tried one more time, I'm gonna pull you from the school. And there's nothing Miss Shipley can do. Mama Bear, I call her Mama Bear, and the white lady, stocky white lady. So when he went back to class, she came up to me and she said, can I just hug you? I said, you need to write a book. I said, it's not about writing a book. He needs to understand that you just can't do that. And the other son, the other time, he was doing the same thing. You know what I did? I took him to the office. He had a box, money from his school that he had from his birthday. I took it back and I said, okay, now you're going to take that money and pay Mrs. Johnson for all the money you. So she's looking, she's like, oh my God. Then some stay-at-home mom, like Amaka mentioned, was there. She's like, oh my God, I look up to you. Like, that is so like amazing. Like, I said, but you're teaching them to realize that we're hustling, we're working hard, consequences. And I know my first encounter with Tammy about parenting, I told her, Tammy, do you remember that conversation? I said, for my boys, I don't beat them. I just show them that I can be crazy. Sometimes I'll just spark so they can know that this mother is, she's crazy. I just rough them up. So I don't beat them. I just hold them by the collar because they're boys. I just jack them. I said, so explain to me why, and I'm moving around the room, why after your daddy and I have done all we can do, you want to now tell me you want to do this? And Tammy's like, oh, I know Tammy's face. Do you remember that day? Tammy's like, oh my God, Tammy, you gotta rough them up sometimes. Do you remember that, Tammy?
Yes.
This my girl, better stay. I reject it. All this this racist people. But anyway, I said,
I remember.
Exactly. And Tammy was like, oh, I said, Tammy, just you like Miss Tolu said, boys, sometimes they start smelling themselves. They start knowing they have hair armpit, and then they want to test you. It's okay. They're allowed to test you. But they need to remember that under that refined Miss Amaka or that Tammy is someone that could be like, I'm gonna flip the switch. So, and then when other parents know that you're not gonna entertain that, they start treating yours differently. You could love when we play. And one thing I learned that my parents didn't do, my moms didn't do, I learned to tell my children I'm sorry when I've messed up. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes. You need to learn how to tell them, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, yes, I yell. I just shout. I'm like, what's going on? What's this hormones? I said, no, I'm just angry. And then you'd be like, oh, okay, it's not Kumi that did that. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. He didn't do it. I'm sorry, Kumi. What do you want? But learn to just take ownership. It's different. You gotta have that balance. And they know the friends that they will not bring near me or a party, they'll be like, mommy's not gonna like that boy. When he sees mommy, he doesn't say hello. I say, yes, greet me, Miss This. Good morning, Miss This. You're not gonna come near me as a friend. And what are we teaching your children? There's a lady on here, college expert. I'm going to reach out to her. She's doing many things like helping our kids get to college. What is our goal? Let them be educated. Let them do it. Even if the child doesn't want to go, prepare them. One of my sons loves basketball, but everyone keeps approaching me, goes to, I know he's good. But when he started playing basketball and he was winning and was doing well, so guess what? We live in non-PG County. So I took my kids to go play in the hood, PG County, let them be around, because they see Collins and Connors. They need to see Tyrone. I needed my sons to be able to crack those boring jokes. And then Tyrone be like, what you say? Okay. So they need to be checked now before they check after. Because one of my sons would just crack a joke, why did the chicken cross the street? And I'd be like, if you're around your people, they're going to make fun of you. You just have to know how to switch. Well, my second one knows how to switch. So when they go, they're playing basketball and he's good. So one day at my job, we're having a meeting and they were saying, oh my God, how was your weekend? I said, my son played basketball. He does very well. If I didn't even know he was that good. Like parents were like, oh my God, who's that little LeBron? I don't understand the game. I'm always yelling. I don't understand timeout. What I don't understand. I'm yelling. And then someone said, oh, is that lady's son? I said, oh, so you can even play like that. They're approaching me. And you know what I said? I told my husband, I said, I want this boy to lose one game. He said, I want him to lose one game. You know why? I want to see how my son reacts when he fails. I want to see, because that's what happens. They grow in society, they become basketballers, they become this. You want to see how your child responds under pressure. And you know how to check that. So he lost the game and I was happy. My mom said, you have it, you're good, Bookie. I said, he cried. I said, check your emotions. That's how we're working with them. That you get to know them and understand. That you know how that child needs to be corrected. Is he passionate about this? They know him he's like a beast on the boy. When he comes to the house, before I tell him to come from here to there, he's forgotten. You know, like when it comes to basketball, he's just a beast. He's good at it. He can flow all those girls. I'm sorry, yes, me sound like those girls, like, because he's in a predominant white school. I'm just gonna say, and the girls like the Shalada, they're all around him, they love him, and he knows how to switch. But my other one, you know, he's just a gentle giant. He's like the Obama kind of awkward, just, you know, doesn't know how to just switch. So, and I like that because they're seeing that whole picture. But those parents and those teachers need to understand that diversity in the child. My child, when he was in class, the one that likes basketball, in the middle of the class, he would just be doing this in basketball. And the teacher sent me an email and said he did this, but she didn't penalize him like what Ms. Naomi said. That's why we need good teachers. Let's bring this conversation back. Let's not leave it on to us. She sent me an email and I said, Kumi, write her a letter. He apologized. But this teacher didn't label him. She just said, I know he's passionate, and she knew how to channel that. There are teachers like that that know how to work with your child. But there's some that say, oh my God, that boy is unserious, and label your child. So you need to be intentional on the court, there next to them. And like Ms. TJ said, Ms. Totally said, let's think about Colin Kaepernick this. I want everybody to close their eyes and think about that boy. In the midst of everything that was going, he's the only person that stood, even when his own people didn't stand with him. 4 years, he lost everything. Think about it, everything. Which mother? Can you imagine? After all that, you'd be like, after a while, you'll be like, don't kneel down. It's okay. You might say that, you don't know. Yeah. But everything. So you can imagine how he's feeling now.
Yeah.
Now they say they knew about it then. That's why they have to be born. They knew about it then. They knew, they still know. So Colin, that's what we're trying to raise. Sons that have integrity, who in the face of injustice, he's like a modern day Daniel. In the midst of all that was, he just stood, he knew it was wrong. Yeah. And he just stood. That's what we're doing all this. So we're taking our kids to Kumon, a violin class, and they have to play the band. They have to, it's all for that. Mm-hmm. So that's what we need to remember and bring those teachers in. Are you on this journey with me? And you can know the spirit of the teacher. Yeah. Call a racist out. I called her out. I said, I don't think you're gonna last in this school. In front of the principal. I'm not afraid. I think, I said, you know why? Because you don't know how to handle boys. And lo and behold, she doesn't know how to. Okay. So be bold, parents. Be bold. Bold and have your own team.
So awesome. Thank you, Buki, for that very, very good contribution. Buki, your mom is hailing you on the comment section. Nicola is also hailing her godson. Thank you, guys. So the final question, nobody has called, and I posted the number multiple times, so that's fine. People are posted in the comment section. Somebody said, and this is the final one, somebody said, I corrected my daughter. Now I feel she is traumatized and freaks out when she's reported to me. How do we chastise a child without trauma? Who wants to take that up?
Please, can I take that?
1 to 2 minute response. That's it.
Can I take that? Short and sweet.
We need two versions. We need Tammy.
Tammy is the ice cream with the sprinkling, the sweet.
we are the yogo Milo.
But anyway, like Amaka said, start early, discipline early, and have a good relationship with your kids. Cultivate a good relationship. The Nigerian way, like my cousin was just commenting to me, the Nigerian way of correcting is quite different from if they were born here or raised here. We were traumatized. You don't want the same kind of trauma in the kids you're raising here. So discipline by talking, spare the rod and spoil the child. So definitely discipline. I don't spare the rod. I spank, but I don't spank with a ruler or, with objects, with my hand. And the thing is, you explain why. You're explaining the reason, you know, they're being corrected. But then you tell them, you know, with one hand you discipline, the other hand you show love and you draw them near to you. So it's, I don't know, short and sweet. Have a great relationship with your child, cultivate that relationship, but at the same time, let them know that there are consequences to being disobedient and indisciplined. So that's basically it. The Nigerian way of just like slapping and hitting, and I think that is just child punishment. I'm sorry. I went through it. I will never forget it. That's child punishment. So it's just.
Then I'll just add, you also have to know the temperament of your child. Because I deal with my children based on their temperament. The older one is a sanguine, he's all out there, extroverted, he's a people person. While the younger one is a melancholic, he doesn't like, you know, going out, he's introverted. When you talk to him, he's already having tears in his eyes. So their punishments are quite different.
Exactly.
So you have to know your child's temperament as well in order to be able to deal with them appropriately.
Awesome. Thank you, Sister. Okay, we have a caller on the line. Good afternoon. Who are we speaking with?
It's Adebisi. Hi. How are y'all?
Hello.
How are you? I've been following y'all. Hey, Buki. Hi, all.
Hi, Adebisi.
Hi, how are you? Talk to us. What's going on? What are you thinking? What are your thoughts? We can't hear you.
It's Adebisi. How are y'all, ladies? This has actually been a great forum. Hi, ladies, and thanks for putting it together.
So can I say my salon sister?
Hey, Buki, what's up? You know, I've been following the conversation. I joined in a little late, but because I was driving and I couldn't pick it up. But I love the conversation. And, you know, talking about raising our boys, I have a boy too, you know, and it's a battle. And like Buki said, you gotta work with your teachers. You gotta be there. You gotta participate, you know. And for me, raising a son, when we started kindergarten, elementary school, I told him, if the teacher calls me, we're calling a round conference outside on the blacktop. And that's it. And it's been good. And we got to know our teachers. We got to work together. We got to participate. Unfortunately for us Africans, we get caught up trying to accomplish a whole lot at the same time. And sometimes with kids, you got to find that balance. Like I always say, we cannot save Africa and raise kids and be professionals all at the same time. And it is very important to be involved in your local communities, because these communities, that's how it affects us. Because if we're not there, if we do not vote for these little community meetings, these budget stuff, we do not get the resources we need, and our kids lose out, regardless of where we stay, where you move to, what community. If you do not participate, we're losing a lot. So it is very key for us. And raising a child is not just for the mother. It is for both mothers and fathers, you know. Participate in school events. It is key. Talk to your kids. We were not raised talking to our parents, so you have to always listen. I've had several incidents with my kid when I started him off at the pre-K. I had to solve the situation myself, but you know, you have to listen to them, because when your kid refuses or changes behavior, something triggers that change, you know, and it is important. And we cannot say, oh, they're in America. No, we were raised of discipline. We gotta discipline our children. You gotta know what works for them. From the minute I said I'm gonna embarrass you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
you know, it's a different ball game. You know, so
he's just saying our wives talking if they have.
All right, so we're hearing someone is talking over. Can we? Okay. Sorry, go ahead. I'll call her. There's 30 more seconds. Can anybody hear her?
I've rounded up, yes. I had rounded up my conversation.
Okay.
And I just let me say thank you again, ladies.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you calling, and that was a fantastic, recap of what we've been talking about. You got to discipline your kids, stay involved, with your children. Yes, the African way, Nigerian way, African American Nigerian way is different from the American way, but we have to find that middle ground, that balance right there. You got to be involved in your community, your schools. We hear you, sis. Thank you so much. All right, so we're gonna move on to our next caller, Mrs. Kamala Fair. Auntie Buki, hi, how are you, ma?
Hello, Sharon. How are you?
Hello, thank you for joining. Talk to us, Auntie. What's going on?
Okay, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right there. How's everyone doing? Hello, ladies. I'm glad to be in. You guys are doing a wonderful job. I just want to raise a point real quick. I think I left that on the messaging. That it's very important, ladies, that we teach our children of our native language. No one has mentioned that. And I believe that's part of parenting. It's very important that we teach them or we speak to them our native language. So in case we need to communicate with them in public, as long as we are very distinct about it. You want to say something to them, bring your voice down. You don't have to yell about it. No one has to hear you, but at least you can correct them, in that little nice voice, and they can, understand. Actually, they will understand exactly where you're going, because before you can even finish saying what you have to say, they know exactly what you're trying to tell them. So can we please implement that? Sharon, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, ma. We can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So just something to add to the topic.
The language, guys, that we need, and I feel like she's right. I think a lot of us come over here and we're like, we're Americans, leave that Nigerian thing alone. They don't want to. My thing is, as you're, if we're talking about, if we're fighting, as African Americans, or blacks in here for respect, and you don't even respect where you're coming from. You don't want to speak the language. The people irritate you. They not say to you. That's when they hear, "Oh, do you cook up or no?" That's medicine. Please, we don't do things like that in the house. We only eat fish and chips, or we only eat sandwiches and bread. I don't know how you even do that. No pepper, no salt, nothing. Anyway, but that's besides the point. But we need to embrace where we're from. You need to embrace your culture. I don't care whether you've lived in America for 30 years or 40 years. I get personally irritated when I meet people who are like, "Oh yeah, I don't traditional. My kids don't have trads. They don't know anything. I've never taken them back home. I've never introduced them to, the culture." I'm sorry. And you want people to respect you over here as African Americans when you don't even respect and love where you're coming from? It's a double standard. It doesn't start. It starts from the home. You need to have that strong cultural, connection with your home country, whether you're from Liberia or Cameroon or Sierra Leone or Nigeria. You need to have that and pass that on to your children. It is important for them to know their history and know where they are from. And the language is one of those things. I would say that I'm guilty of that because when my son was a lot younger, I used to, say that, do the Nigerian thing with him. But I feel like as he has gotten older, he's kind of lost it a little bit. But the one thing that he has refused to forget, and I bless the name of the Lord for, is Mapwetie. He has not forgotten that one. That is the one standard one that I need him to not forget. Because when we're in the grocery store or we're outside and he's doing when I'm like, no. Yes, you have to do it with a smile on your face because for those of us who have eyes that speak, you don't want to say my point here because then they know that you're already threatening that child. So I just smile. Sometimes I tap it. My point. Thank you, Auntie Buki. We appreciate it.
I love that. That is very important.
Yes, very, very, very important.
I just wanted to add that I think Africans are the only immigrants that don't teach their kids their language.
Yes, sis, why are you doing this to me?
You have Asians, you have Indians, all of them, their kids know how to speak their languages. Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree. I don't know if we're ashamed or we're embarrassed. I have no idea what it is.
So, Sharon, can I add this? Yes, can I add something to it? So, growing up, my mom only spoke to me in English.
Same.
I happened to understand Yoruba because for the first, 10 years of my life, I was in Nigeria. Then I came over here, and I really want to be able to speak Yoruba very in conversation, but it's not there. I can't lie. So I'm trying to teach my kids, but it's not coming out right.
Yeah.
So if there are resources out there, I really try. You know, it takes a village. So please, can y'all
Some
talk
stuff is coming up. Some stuff coming up. We'll be reaching out.
Yeah.
We'll be reaching out.
Funny enough, my husband and I, we talk mostly in English. That's just
yeah.
That's the problem.
Like, I speak Yoruba now more as an adult than I did as a child. My childhood, as you're saying, my parents never spoke Yoruba to us, and my mom is on the chart. She'll verify that. Never ever spoke Yoruba to us. I'm telling you.
Yes, all of them.
I feel like one of the things I want to ask my dad next time I see him face to face, like, please, I have a question, please. You never spoke Yoruba to us. Not one day. We never had people, you know, drivers or, you know, maids or anything that could not communicate in English. That was number one requirement, that you need to be able to communicate fluently in English. Why did man throw us in boarding school? Where is Yoruba they're speaking? I want, that's a very bad question I want to ask my dad. What was the rationale behind that? So it was like, when we dropped us in those schools, when everybody's speaking Yoruba and we're speaking English, they're looking at you like you're being bougie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm like, no, really, literally, I don't understand what you're saying. But guess what? I caught up real fast. When they call me Oloshi, just plenty of times, you know, on your annual, plenty of times. I caught up real quick so that I could Oloshi you right back too. We're not doing that. And everyone knows that I'm Ondo. I'm proudly an Ondo woman. Those of you who do not know where Ondo is from, Ondo is in Nigeria. It's in the southwest part of Nigeria. The best tribe ever. But that's beside the point. Anyway.
Yeah, beside the point.
So, anyway, my parents also never spoke the language to us. And we lived in Lagos, you know, at some point in time, you know, my dad was in politics. We spent some time in Ondo. They never spoke. My dad was, I had graduated from secondary school, actually, before my dad realized I knew how to speak Yoruba. And I'll tell you very funny, you know, Nitel back then, right? You know how when you want to dial international, you need to dial like an extra
00, yeah.
So the Nitel guy came to our house to do something. So my dad was not telling him Yoruba, okay, don't tell me the code for dialing international. Wait for my daughter to leave here so that he can tell me, so that she won't hear, because, you know, my sisters were here, 2 seconds, I'll be dialing. Meanwhile, I'd be speaking Yoruba to the guy throughout while he was working. So the guy was like, Yoruba. That was when my dad realized that, wait, what? She actually speaks Yoruba fluently. Yeah, hi, baby. I see Temi's baby right there. Hi, mama.
Oh, hi. You see?
I joined when over the past few years, I joined specific groups, Ondo, on Facebook, intentionally, right? There are many of them. I joined. I know how to write Ondo because I joined those groups. I speak Ondo. When I speak Ondo, Atibuki, you know, she's dropped off the call, but, you know, when they'll make fun of me and say my Ondo is your Ondo, whatever. I still try, you know. I try to push myself that way, but I just feel like my point is I've been intentional about trying to learn those other things. So we'll see what other resources are out there to help people, you know,
we have to.
Languages, Yoruba.
There's some places, there's some things that are coming up. Okay. And I want to encourage any woman in the chat there, if it's time, let's stop talking, it's time. It's time. If you're out there, if there's any auntie out there that wants to do something, we can do it. It's time. We have Zoom now. And I'll tell you why. I'm Yoruba, but I married a man that's from Sierra Leone. Shout out to all my Sierra Leoneans out there. You know, so in Sierra Leone, they have the difference. Actually, I'm from the Creole side, right? My husband's from the Creole side. He has a Yoruba name just because of the whole Haba Macaulay. So when we got married and we started hanging, my husband would not speak Creole to me. He would speak English, but he had an aunt, Auntie Nancy, God bless her, she's dead now. She just only spoke Creole to me. My husband won't speak it to me. All his friends were speaking that language to me. But anytime I went around his friends, I would start speaking and he was like, how did you learn that? That intentionality. So that allowed me to connect to so shout out to all my Australian sisters out there. It allows you connect. When I went to his country for the first time, they thought, this is Nigerian, you know, won't connect. I started speaking the language because I didn't want anyone to talk about me behind my back. But the other thing is, it also shows inclusiveness and it also shows intentions. You know, you can eat the food, but there's something so powerful about language now that when I'm talking to my in-laws now or friends now, they're like, she able to Creole back. Hey, this mommy able to Creole back. I say, Miss, I'm able to Creole back, you know? And exactly, I'm like, but I had to learn it. And I was so upset at my husband. I'm like, why don't you speak it to me? Now he wants to be talking to me. I'm like, don't speak to me in the corner. You didn't teach me. I went out there, your in-laws and friends taught me the language. It's the same thing. We have Igbos and Yorubas marrying. And it's hard. I have some family friends who are like that, those dynamics. I see someone saying, you saw her out here saying she had to go find a book on Benin. There's so much we can do out there. There are people, it could start. It's hard. That intentional aspect of speaking the language, like even if it's the ABCs, like it's the 1 to 10 that we're teaching them. And the food, my kids at a young age, I made them start taking African food to school for lunch. Yes, it's okay. Let it smell. Even me at work, let them get used to expose the culture. And I tell them, I said, if someone makes fun of your jollof rice, you tell them that their mac and cheese is smelling. You tell them mommy made good food from the mac, it's not healthy. So now the other day I went for an open house. My son is in a predominantly white school. And we had an open house, we're talking there, and then the boys were all sitting. There was an Asian boy, just 2 black boys and 4 white guys. And then they were like, hey, Zachary's mom. Hi, mom. And they would tell me, hello, grandpa. But the other mom's like, hi. So we're talking about lunchroom, but they want to do a schedule. Maybe you would bring you food and that jollof rice and that sauce you bring. And I was like, okay. And their mothers were like, what are you talking about, Bukola? I said, apparently, when Zachary takes food to school, he's like, can I take more for Lane? Can I take more for Sean? And they were eating the food and it was trying to explain it to them. So when you're breaking bread with your brothers at that level, there's something about unity that makes you want to have your brothers back. So that's why those moms had nothing to do. They didn't know about Nigeria, but they knew that their son's mother was from Nigeria and eats one food. She said, well, we're not doing crab soup. Bukola, I guess you do the rice. So I did it. I did the rice. They took it to school. They ate. They talk about it. So that inclusion, it's needed. And not to tie back in everything we're saying here now, our kids they're going to go to college. They're going to be in school, like I said last week, with all these Connors and Jasons that have no idea how to. I mean, sometimes I see how these moms treat their sons in sports and out, they're rubbing their hands. One is start kissing it. Hey, yo, boy, say, sorry, honey. You're not giving him that ability. They don't know how to apologize. They think everything is owed to them. So they're going to be their roommates. They're going to be competing with them for scholarship. They're going to be co-workers. You're allowed to be, that confidence I started, I'm like, you better step back. That's why I don't let no one call me Buki. It's that Bukola. If you're not careful, I do Bukola. Hey, Bukola. I'm telling you. And then they tell me, oh, why is that person calling me Buki? Because she's my friend. I said, but we're co-workers. We are co-workers, but she's my friend. So when your kids are allowed to choose, even amongst your friends, you have to have friends. So that's why you can say, Connor, I don't want to be your friend. Shaquisha, I don't want to be your friend. Funke, I don't want to be your friend because I choose not to be your friend because you choose not to know about me. They know about these things. These are sons that know about the games, the phones, their friends travel. They want to know about, oh my God, animal rights and everything. So why don't you want to know about the boy that's in your own class? Include them, drag them in. Let's come back to the topic we're talking about. Bring them in. And if they're not intentional, cut them off. They're allowed to be uncomfortable. Let them, like I was telling Lindsay, I said, why do white people like to flip their hair, run their fingers through their hair and all? And she was laughing. She said, oh my God, I just did it like 5 times in our conversation. Be vulnerable. I said, we can't do that unless it's this. I said, so all that understanding, I can't just run my fingers through. Let your sons, all of you, some of you, I'm going to go deep now. Let your sons know what your natural hair looks like. My sons have seen my hair. Some of us have seen that. Let them understand that it's okay. Yeah. There's a difference, but we celebrate it.
Absolutely.
So thank you to all those commenting. I see them all out there, but let's be intentional. If you have any, Tammy's asking for help. I'm asking for help. I don't mind. Even Miss Buki Komalafa, she speaks. If it's a Zoom class she wants to do, we're all for it. This is what COVID is. It has brought everybody to a standstill.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Buki. Awesome contribution as always. So we have 2 other callers. We're going to take your questions, 20 seconds each, and we're going to respond 30 seconds, and we can wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. We are more than 2 hours, and this is an extremely interesting discussion. I don't know how we, time flies like this. All right. So we have Mr. Balogun on the call. Please, Mr. Balogun, 9596. Good afternoon, sir. Talk to us, please.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Bashir Balogun. I'm just coming to also say, good job to you guys. You guys are doing a fantastic job, especially with all the information I've been gathering since morning. Yes. All grace to you all and everything. I just want to say one of the things I just want to chip in. It's not a question. It's like, open communication is very important. One of the things I do with my kids, and I'm open to them to hear, speak to them. They also know their friends, yes. And also let them know. I use the Bible as a basic for them. So this is what the Bible says. Not all things are right. but it has to be according to the word, and also use the African way to discipline them. Someone outside when they want to misbehave, I pitch them by the side. They say, hot. I say, yes, I want to know how you feel. You know what I mean? So I make sure that, we are checking them every time, the friends they go out with and everything, all of that mission is in place. In schools, we're always on top of their games, knowing their teachers one by one, let them know that, hey, we are not a nonsense person, you know what I mean? So more grace to you guys, more strength to you guys, and Sean, good job, please, more and more, God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you so much, sir. All right, so our final caller, call in. Last 4 digits, 2120. Good afternoon. Who are we speaking with?
Hi, Shell. It's Nick here. Hi, Bookie.
Hi.
How are you guys doing? I'll try to be quick. I joined a little bit late. I was multitasking, cooking, cleaning, all of that all at once. But you guys are doing a great job. Bookie, all your disciplining, I've learned some stuff from you. What you guys said about having other parents at support, that's crucial because my husband travels a lot. So just having that backup person to always help in case I'm running late, because we're all working, parents. So it's very important. And also having the teachers, making sure the teachers, because like my daughter had a teacher that was, in first grade, really crushed her self-esteem, and my daughter was doing great. And now in second grade, she had a teacher that let me know immediately, like, what's going on, and she was Nigerian, and she's like, Nigerians, we don't mess up. And I'm like, yeah, what's going on? And I immediately got on board, and my daughter's back to being straight A's. So it's like just having that really bad teacher can really, really hurt your child if you're not like on top of it. And then, disciplining as well. Yeah, I've learned a lot of different disciplining techniques also from you all. But definitely teaching your kids respect. I'm constantly telling my kids, whenever you ask for something, say please. When you when you do receive it, say thank you. It is not okay to wake up and not say good morning. So those little things that maybe, even if you bulge, you need to say, excuse me. Those are little things that, most people don't think about, but in the long run, it helps them be who they are, know that respect is important. As much as you want others to respect you, you have to show the same respect. And I had an example or something that happened in my house with my daughter and another friend of hers, and they messed up my whole house. So obviously I just went to number one, which is spanking. But I spanked my daughter first, and I was so upset. And I looked at this other child. She was terrified because she has never seen that before. But I was just like, you know what? I don't have permission from your mother to discipline you, but just know when I do drop you off, I'm going to ask. And when I went back, to drop her off, her mom, she told her mom before I even said anything. And her mom is like, I give you permission. She's African-American. So it's it's different because I'm like, if she was Nigerian, both of them are getting spanking. But it's like, you're not Nigerian, so let me respect myself. But no, as soon as I got permission, she knows not to mess up in my house ever again. So just those, little things, but I really appreciate, what you ladies are doing and, just all the different conversations, the chat, more grease to your elbow.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for calling. Oh my God, more people are calling in. Guys, we gotta go.
This is hot, Sheon. Thank you, Sheon. This is amazing.
Yeah. I just needed this. One more thing, Sheon. Yes. We have to be role models to our kids, and boys especially, they need that male figure, especially when they are getting to the teenage years, because they need constant structure. And this structure is what is going to help them for tomorrow's challenge. Yeah. So for most of us, or some of our friends, or some of our sisters who are raising their kids by themselves, they need to look for that trusted male mentor that can help their teenage boys, because this is going to help resolve a lot of the problems we're having. Because naturally, God created us as nurturing, we mothers, and the boys know how to suck up to their mothers. Yeah. But they respect a male figure, and they will not mess with that male figure in their lives. So that is my final say on that.
Okay, so thank you, Sister T. So I'm going to say something because most of you, and in case you don't know, I'm a single mom raising an 11-year-old son. Let me tell you this. I'm very wary and careful of who I let my son around, because we have crazy people molesting boys this time around.
Yeah.
I have had to become harder than I wanted to or intended to be because of the absence, you know what I mean, of not having a male figure in the home. And I refuse to put myself around any male figure just because I want a male figure in my son's life. So I'll tell you this, if you're in my shoes, you need to buckle up. You need to become tough. Do you understand me? It is nice and it is okay for you to have a male figure, maybe your parents, maybe your brothers. I don't have male siblings. So in my case, we're 3 girls. So if you have any of that, make use, and you trust them, make use of those. If you do not, you need to buckle up, sit up, and know that you can do it. Let me tell you what I did yesterday. So my son just graduated from elementary school and insisted he wanted a new skateboard. He doesn't want the one that's fully assembled. He wants the one that comes with all the parts. Yesterday, I almost started crying because I spent an hour and a half watching YouTube videos trying to assemble this thing. But I did it. And I kept telling myself, I said, this is the job of a man, but guess what? I'm doing it. I had to do it. And you know what he said? Afterwards, he gave me a big hug. He said, Mommy, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for doing this. I sandpapered, I cut, used the blade cutter. When I was saying, I was just saying, blood of Jesus, God, please don't let this thing cut me. Use screws, yesterday was the first time I lefty, righty. Do you guys even know what that is? And I had what is lefty, righty. Apparently when you're turning the screw, you have to, I learned some 1.5 hours yesterday trying to do this thing, and he almost broke his head today on this skateboard, but we bless the name of the Lord, he's alive. What I'm just trying to say is, I get to Sato's point if you do have that, but I'm also saying that you need to be very careful of the people that you bring around your children. And if you don't feel safe, or you don't necessarily have to have that, just because it is. There's so many things that you as a woman can do. You need to discipline your children. There are times where I've disciplined my child and I go right into the bathroom to go and cry. I can barely contain it myself. You know what I mean? I feel like if we had the father figure, I would not have had to do that. But I suck it up. I do it. I get emotional. I go and cry. I apply my pancake and my lipstick and I come back again. What's next? And we've been doing very well, tackling life very well. So let me tell you something. If you're a single parent out there, either you're just a single, you're a single mom, or you got divorced, or you're a widow, you can do this. If I can do it, you can do this, and you can rock it, and you can raise your child and your children. Obama was raised by a single mom. There's so many of them that did awesome and did well. If you have a trusted, keyword is trusted. Let me tell you something, even siblings sometimes cannot be trusted. Some uncles cannot be trusted. There are crazy people right now who are acting like there's not so. Please, male children. So if you do have it, use it. If you don't have it, you're good. You're fine. You will do well and you will thrive well. I just want to let that be known there. We have a caller. This is the last person, guys. Last person. Nobody should call it again. 5013. 30 seconds. How are you? What's your name? And, tell us how you're doing. Oh, sorry. I think they're on mute. I muted them. All right. We can hear you now.
My name is Kay. Okay, thank you. My name is Kay, and I want to thank you guys for this forum. Actually, Marian, my friend, she's one of the hosts, I guess. She invited me, and I'm really thankful for this because I have 2 boys. They're 6 and 3. And this is empowering me. But my question to you is, I don't know anyone here apart from Marian, like I said, I am in need of some resources. I am myself in need of empowerment because, a lot of the things that I've been listening to since, I came online, you ladies seems to be strong. And I think for right now, I may not be as strong, but I know I can be. So one, what resources do you think you can recommend to me as a single mom, I would say, with the 2 boys to empower them? And I know for me, God has taken me far from where I used to be. So I am a lot better than I used to be. But I myself, I would like to become a little bit more stronger, in understanding myself and understanding on how to raise my boys for them to, be men of integrity.
That is an awesome question. I'll call it. So I don't have any. I think mute your YouTube, I think it's the YouTube that's on. If you mute your YouTube, then we won't have that feedback. Okay. So I don't have any physical, resources that I can refer to you and say, read this or read that. I just went into natural instinct mode of whatever it is. You know what I mean? I'm just speaking for myself personally. I see somebody put in the comment section here, fathering, a practical guide for men and women who lack. Okay, I think that's going to be for the kids. So what I would say is this: I think I take that as a responsibility now. I am going to see what I can find. You know what I mean? Because I want to believe that not everybody, not everyone just gets it and goes, and is able to just step in and fill both roles like that. I feel like a lot of people need the resources, need the guidance and everything. And you've opened my eyes to something that I may have overlooked. And I feel like maybe a lot of people may have overlooked as well. So it's very, very necessary. I will look into finding resources that will help single parents raising their sons. Not only mothers raising their sons, but there are a lot of fathers who are also raising girls on their own. And raising girls on their own, especially, like the opposite genders, I think is a little trickier and more unique or so. So let's see, I don't know if anybody in the comment section, if you have any resources for parents, that are raising children by themselves, whether a girl, with a female, with a male, please share in the comment section or reach out to me so that we can access these resources. I have also written out your number here. I'm going to see what I can find specifically, and if there are other people that are having issues in our society, we have that resource out there. But I would say this: the mere fact that you are standing where you are today, you're not in jail. Your kids are not in, they've not been taken from you. They're not in foster care or anything. You're alive, you're well, your children are good. You are a strong woman. You deserve all the accolades and all the applaud that is possible. Do you understand me? You might be hard on yourself and think that you're not doing okay. I want to assure you that it could be very well much worse. Not doing okay would be that all your kids have been taken away from you. You probably don't have nowhere to live. You probably don't have a job. You don't have, you know what I mean? When I said that, right. You're not necessarily that you. I don't even know how to explain it, but I think it's the point. You're not earning anything right now. You're relying on other people, not necessarily your spouse, because you're a single mom. Maybe you're relying on other people to make all the provisions for you or something. And there are people that in that circumstance, you got to come out of that. There's so many resources. Take classes, do whatever you need to do. There's America, there's work. There is something for everybody if you choose to, except you decide you don't want to. It's okay. So you're doing well, my sister. I applaud you. You're doing great. You have your kids with you. You're feeding them. You are doing awesome. Tammy wanted to say something.
Can I add this? Ms. K, I just want to let you know that you might see us as strong women, but you have that. And I pray that God will give you eyes to see yourself the way He sees you. And I pray strength into your life. I pray that God will overwhelm you with blessings and that He'll make a way. I don't know where you are mentally right now, but I'm just hearing that maybe you need some mental health support. And I'm not saying this in a negative connotation. Seek self-care, not just like taking time out, but it may be hard because you're a single mother, but find resources online that you could take time out when your kids are asleep. Read about that. Read about therapy, behavioral health therapy. There are some apps online. I can't remember the app right now, but there's this app called Calm, and an app that you can download and talk to a therapist. But I feel like you may be going through some things right now, but don't forget that the God that you serve, He's here with you. Call out to Him and He'll answer you. Okay, be encouraged. So basically my message to you is just be encouraged and please take care of yourself, because that's the best way you can take care of your kids, is by taking care of yourself, making sure that you are whole and you have that wholeness. Please don't be discouraged.
And Tammy's a clinician, so Tammy is any kind of reach out to Tammy after. there any kind of clinical resources, you know what I mean, that you have access to, that you feel like we can direct them to Ms. K, let's connect afterwards so we can see what we can do there with her, you know what I mean? And then we'll go from there. But thank you, Ms. K. Are you okay? Did you hear all that?
Yeah, I heard it, but the last part when you said to reach out to who, I couldn't hear what you said.
Tenny, the lady that just spoke, if you can reach out to her one-on-one, we want to give you the resources. Like we said, we all winging it, but some of us have resources. Tenny, if you can, I don't know how Sean can share the information if you want to reach out to her. And there's someone on the chat on here. Her name is Miss Oseni. I don't know her, but I follow her U.S. college experts. She does a great job in terms of prepping students for college. I'll be calling you college experts very soon, but those are resources, and they can connect you to the right people. Yes, we're praying for you, but the burden. In the chat room, Sean was going to reach out to you. Sean can reach out to you. We'll share that, okay?
Miss K, I have your number down.
Yes.
I will reach out to you.
Okay.
Amy, who spoke earlier a few minutes ago, is a clinician.
Yeah.
And I was asking her if she had some resources based on the suggestions that she made. If she had some resources, you know what I mean, that we could share with you. And if she does, I'll call her and ask her. If she does, I'll connect with you as well and make sure that we pass that on to you. And somebody wrote in the comment section that she said, Miss K, look into Trail Life USA. It is a Christian version of the Boy Scout. It is all over the US. Look for a local branch and get the boys involved. So that's one resource right now. So Trail Life USA.
You said Thrill? I'm sorry, is it CHILL?
No. Sean will email you. Sean will text you all the information. So you have everything on there and just give you all those resources.
Yeah.
So Sean, get her number, like you said, and just share that with her.
I really do appreciate it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
So we have reached the end of this session. We are went way over the guys, and woo, Lord have mercy. I'm so grateful.
Thank you
to each and every single one of you who is tuned in. The
Thank you.
of this discussion is coming up a week from today, Saturday. We're going to have our Caucasian friends talk to us, right? They have things to share with us, to talk to us. We want to hear from them. We want to, we love them. You know, we have no problem with anybody at all. We absolutely embrace, we love them. We want to hear their perspective about everything that's going on and the intentional things that they're doing to ensure that their children, you know, are raised, are raised to be inclusive, you know, of everybody. So, and one thing that Tammy has mentioned here as well, for those of you who are spiritual, who are religious, who are Christians, Muslim, whatever it is that you do or you believe in, I believe in, you know, I'm Christian, I believe in God. Tammy is suggesting that, and this is a very good one, she said, let's make sure we are praying for our children. Make sure you're praying for your children. Make sure you're speaking life into their future. This is extremely important. And I feel like we are going to do another session that doesn't have to do with, you know, immigrants and racism. Just
parenting.
Parenting. I'm going to do something like that. So once we get all of this discussion about the immigration, about racism out of the way, our next topic, I think, set of questions, we're going to tackle parenting. I feel like a lot of us could do with the help and the resources, and there's so many things. Sati, I'm bringing you back because you have a lot to share about.
Yes.
She knows where to go, who to talk to, where all the germs and all the nuggets are hidden in this America when it comes to children. She knows. I mean, her kids are 16-year-old, not going to college for another couple of years. SAT is not for another year. He's already started, you know, what's called, I don't know what you want to use the word training. She's already been doing like lessons specifically for that. Well, some people are starting lessons 3 months before SATs. Y'all are slow. You got to bring Sister T back. So many things, the beautiful things and amazing things we're going to do here. I want to say thank you guys very much. I'm sorry, I'm not giving up on this ad. I have to do this one more time. Nobody can laugh. You must not laugh. I will try this one more time. The devil is a liar. And even then, I'm going to add it I'm going to insert it in the video so that when you do replay this video, it would be there. It would be at the end. It would be on our social media pages as well. If you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, did I offend you?
Exactly.
2 hours and 39 minutes. No food, no water, nothing. Please click on the subscribe button. And then click on like this video one more time. God bless you in advance. Let me be seeing that. Like, subscribe, and tell your friends they should join us next week so that we can hear our Caucasian.
Yes.
Diverse audience. I know a lot of questions, to ask, and I'm about to connect everybody together and do this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to the most amazing.
Thank you. Wow.
Salome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shale, for the platform. Wow.
I appreciate the team. Awesome. Always. Amy, our ice cream and the sprinkles on top of it. And Bookie.
The head rap stayed. Thank you for the prayers.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. God bless you. Wait, though, like I said, I'm going to do this one more time.
Okay.
Thank you to all those that watched and stayed and made comments. We're grateful.
All the parents, Bookie's mom, I see
the parents.
Yeah.
I see my mom.
Mothers, oh my God. We're going to do something especially for the grandmas. Bookie, I think we're going to bring your mom in. Let's do something. Let them tell us some things. You know what I mean? I want to know what life was when they started dating our fathers compared to now. Is this still happening in the bedroom? Have people retired? I want to know what's going on so that when Bookie hears, Bookie knows what to expect. When she's 70, she knows there's stuff in the bedroom. Let's try.
Thank you. Wow.
Okay, can you guys see the deck stuff that I'm sharing? Oh, I'm just.
I've told you just hire my son.
He's playing.
Yay! Yeah. Make it big now.
Hey, did that work?
Yes.
Yay! I told you. Okay, what a freak, ladies and gentlemen.
That's good.
Now I'm hungry. Oh.
It's so good.
Wow.
And last but not the least, guys, make sure you're following all of them. And this is important to us. This was what was sent to me. But as you can see, this is for U.S. college experts. If you have will be going to college in the next 2 years, this is extremely
You need to, yes.
You know that this works. This is a process that works. Getting your children, getting them ready for college is no joke. It's like school on its own. So please reach out to them. We will have all of this posted on our social media page at Show On Demand on Instagram, on Facebook, and of course here on YouTube. And of course, that's their contact information there. Okay, now that I have successfully shamed the devil into doing the ad, thank you guys again for joining. Please make sure you're shopping from Uber Style Women. That was the first video that you saw. They have fabulous pieces. I already keep some things in my basket so that you people cannot get it before me. Thank you very much so much. And What a Freak, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. You saw the mouth-watering food.
I'm hungry.
Sometimes, especially this time, a lot of us don't feel like eating our own food. So Salami, I'll be in touch so that I can.
Salami, is she open now? Let me order.
Openly.
Okay, so in case you don't want to eat your own food anymore because your food is to look like, and you don't want to go outside because Poro is out there, please order food so that you can enjoy. And of course, US college experts, now that we're at home, this is the perfect time. This is the perfect downtime for you to spend time in learning these resources, right? Knowing some things. Scholarship is especially necessary. They know what you need to do, to ensure that your kids are landing or applying for schools that will give them the right kind of scholarships based on specific things that they do. Maybe they're into sports, or they're into this or that. These are the people to talk to, because there's no reason to come and pay 50,000, 100,000 when there's free money, if there is free money. So US college experts, as I'm advertising you, in 5 years, when I reach out to you for my son, please, it's free for me. Let's write that down. I said that on YouTube. It's free. I have witness. Thank you guys so much. God bless you. I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful weekend, everybody. See you next week.
Thank you,
Thank
Sharon.
you.
Thank you, lady.
Bye.